Okay, so I have pushed the button. We're live, or not live, but we're recording. Mic's hot. Uh, this is gonna be our, as the quote unquote script says, our podcast type TWAB breakdown before Season of the Lost. Very long title. Doesn't matter. I'm just gonna get into it. Just the idea I had when I read the first TWAB 3 weeks ago, and they were, or I guess 2 weeks ago, and they were like, "Hey, we got 3 juicy TWABs coming." So I've gone through, taken notes. I've got the 3 TWABs pulled up, and you're gonna kind of go through it based off the notes and discuss things that we either are okay with, are unsure of, things like that. Things we feel they hit too hard, things they feel they didn't hit hard enough, things that we don't understand why weren't mentioned at all and weren't touched. So I say let's get into it. The first thing on the quote unquote script is the separate melee actions. How's everybody feel about those?
I'm pretty excited about it for Hunter Wise because it was fairly annoying to deal
What
with.
what part of the hunter classes really do you find it going to be most useful for?
I was feeling it definitely like tether for smoke
For the smoke bombs?
and whatnot because there's been times when you actually want to do a melee and you throw a smoke instead, and that's like a very crucial thing, especially like during grandmasters or trying to get away from like in the raids or something like that.
I agree.
It it definitely needed to be separated.
I think it'll be
I
neat
will.
for throwing knives.
Yeah, throwing knives too.
I would probably say it's definitely the most beneficial for hunters as a whole because they really got the short end of the stick with that. With the double melee, God knows how often they throw smoke or throw knives instead of just trying to melee.
Yeah.
For Titans, it's pretty much, I believe it only helps two subclasses. It's gonna help the stasis. It's gonna help Titans from shiver striking
Shiver strike,
when they
yeah.
don't want to, and it's gonna help middle tree Sunbreakers from tossing the throwing hammer when they don't want to, which is cool.
Yeah,
Other than that, it's pretty much inconsequential for Titans.
was that then speaking of the middle tree stuff, which we'll get to later, it's with the middle tree hammer buff, or not hammer, but the melee changes they're making, that'll be maybe a little bit more useful. uh I know for me when I play hunter, because I'm a warlock main. When I play hunter, especially in Crucible, I play stasis because it's the most fun to me. I know I'm a piece of shit for that, but it's whatever. The withering blades, that's the thing. I can't tell you guys how many times I'll get into a fight and I'll be like, oh, I want to melee this guy,
Mm-hmm.
but instead of meleeing, it throws the withering blades, and with their damage nerf, it's not enough to kill when a normal melee would. So that's the main thing I look forward to with that. The other thing, of course, is going to be the warlock stasis melee, because there's also been times where I wish I could have done a direct melee instead of throwing my melee attack at him. But it's going to be interesting to try out. It's definitely going to take some adjusting, because
Oh yeah, for sure.
there's definitely muscle memory when it comes to using my melees and everything in Destiny. That's going to have to change overall. Rusty, you got anything?
Or like when you use shotgun melee, like you won't waste your melee. If you like kill him in one shot with a shotgun, you won't just
That's true.
you know how you pull the trigger sometimes and then there goes my freeze. So
Yeah,
oh well.
that's true.
Yep.
Another question on console, how are y'all gonna bind that? Because we're pretty limited.
Yeah.
I would think
If we
because
had back
R
buttons all
three
day.
R3 is for finishers in PvE, but there's no finishers in PvP. I think the safe bet would either to be to bind your melee or your powered melee to R3. Is probably what most console players are gonna do.
It's the only thing you could do. To be honest with you, because I mean, a lot of us can admit that we're used to certain games having that kind of melee option. So it'd be
Borderlands,
like the
baby.
more comfortable switch. Yep.
Yeah.
But
So get them back buttons back.
my only main concern with mapping it to that is for PvE content, because
Oh yeah.
because I have a habit of when I see the dot above an enemy that's finishable, I'll just start mashing that as I walk towards them. I have to get out of that habit and wait till I know I'm within a range where it's gonna work.
Mm-hmm.
So that's gonna be my thing. But yeah, it's absolutely gonna be mapped to R3 for me. That's the only thing I'll
Exact same
change
for
about
me.
it.
We're gonna be able to make like priorities, or like if there is a finishable, will it take priority over your charge?
It should. It should. If not, that's going to be the thing that's going to be the the main issue that they'll have to work on. Which, I mean, it's a separate melee thing. You know, they've given us remapping and they've worked around that a little bit, done some tweaks. So it'll be interesting to see what they do with this. If we got no more on that, we can move on to the next topic. If everybody's good there. All right, so next up we got the controller sensitivity options we're gonna get, which I'll scroll down to that. And also no more traction. Traction's gonna be intrinsic now, so that'll be
Sounds good.
be neat. Where is that even at?
Definitely a win for consoles.
Oh yeah, for sure. Oh, maybe traction wasn't in this TWAB. No, that had to be in this TWAB, wasn't it?
I thought it was in the second one, wasn't it?
Yeah, well, it was in one of the other ones for sure.
I'm in 812. Let's see it. Yep. You know what? I'm dumb, guys. We're good. We're good. I got it here. So, yeah, they're gonna add the sprint turn speed scaler from or they're gonna add one, so the values are gonna be 0.3 to 0.8, which I'm imagining that's just a multiplier. Like, if it's at 1, whatever your movement speed is, like that'll be the. Well, I guess. Oh, I don't know. That's weird because it's a little different. I guess it'll take some messing with to figure out what's good and what's bad. I'll probably start at 0.8 and tweak it down as I go until I find something that works really well for me.
Go with some troll and check it out.
What about you, J5 and Pro?
Is this about the added sensitivity they're going to be doing? Like options?
Did that? I mean, we'll get to that one in a minute. It's the sprint turn speed. It's the one right above it. Yeah.
I definitely personally I like fast pace, so
you'll go
I'll
for the
probably
tighter
go pretty
turn.
high. Yeah. It's good for getting out of like trial situations. Your last guardian standing, you get to run a corner pretty easy. That tight build to turn would definitely come in handy.
True.
You just go like max speed when that comes out.
Oh yeah, every game I play, I go max everything.
And you down tweak it until you find a comfortable spot.
Mm-hmm.
I don't really want to jump the gun on the topics with my statement, but for me, it's even though it never should have been a mod, especially if they were just it was gonna cost 0 to put it on your armor. They should have made the change before they ever made it just cost 0.
True.
But for me, it's a blessing in disguise because of the I can't even think of the word. Because of the scav nerf. It's a blessing in disguise for me because I have always run traction, so I've always only been able to run one scav perk. So the scav nerf isn't going to really hurt me.
Hold on, let's be honest. You didn't always run traction.
No, I didn't always run traction. I didn't think about it until you mentioned it to me.
Right. Give the credit where it's due. Give the credit where it's due.
Yeah, true.
That Toby's got everybody covered.
I've ran it for the last 3 months or so.
I can't remember if you started this season or last season. I think it was last season.
It might have been last season, yeah.
See, I've always ran traction myself.
Get out of here, Swamp.
Oh, Swampy. Sorry, homie.
You should have been there sooner.
Let's go to the added controller sensitivity options. The current, which is 1 through 10, and then the increase to 11 through 20. So before you say whether or not you're gonna go up or down, just where do you currently play at? We'll start with Rusty.
Let me check. 8.
Rusty plays at 8. J5?
8.
Pro, you got 10?
10.
I play at 8. Sometimes I'll drop to 7 or 6, depending on how I'm feeling while I'm aiming and stuff. But most of the time I play at 8.
I will say that I did try 10 for about 3 or 4 days a few weeks back, and I could not get used to it.
My thing was I didn't like that if I played at 10, my ADS was the same as my non-ADS. And so when I aimed down sights, my aim would go all over the place because I'd have to find tap instead of being able to have a more controlled aiming sight. But I think with this 11 to 20 and with the added ADS sensitivity modifier of 0.5 to 1.5, I think that'll be a nice little change. Pro, you gonna bump it up to 20 and downscale from there? Or are you gonna stay at 10? What are you gonna do?
I'll probably go up a little bit, but see, I play a little different. I'm a flick aim guy. Like with hang hens, sniper, I find it more easy for me to flick to your head.
Oh, I can tell.
And that's what So it helps me with like if somebody's strafing, I'm flicking side to side with you.
I can tell. Been on the wrong end of your hand cannon shots. I know.
But when it comes down to it, I think it's probably the best thing you can do. Because say you do have a friend with the whole crossplay thing, is that's gonna be your only chance to fight against a PC player because you'll actually have that turn radius. I don't know about PlayStation 4, but PlayStation 5 you should. But personally, yes, I will bump mine up, but I don't know how much because 10 is almost too much. I can handle it. We'll just have to see when it comes out.
Well, I think with the bumping it up, you also have the ADS sensitivity modifier. So like I think based off the way it works, because it's a 0.5 to a 1.5 scaler. So I imagine if you put it at 20 and you put it at 0.5, your ADS aim sensitivity would be what 10 is right now. At least that's the way I'm inferring this. So like the 1.5, for whatever reason you put that on and you put yourself at a 20, that should give you a 30 technically an ADS sensitivity modifier, but I'm sure there might be a cap on it or something like that. I have no idea. But Rusty, you gonna stick to 8 or you gonna try yourself up higher?
I was thinking, whoever wants to go above 10, knock yourself out.
Well,
I won't be able to do anything.
well, I think because of the way the sprint turn speed scaler is, I think they're kind of designing you to go above 8 for your hip fire aiming, and then using the ADS sensitivity modifier to bring yourself down while ADS, because the sprint turn speed scaler doesn't go to a flat 1. It caps out at 0.8. So I don't know. It'll be interesting to see. It's definitely going to take, I'd say almost a good 2, maybe 3 weeks for me to determine exactly where I want to be.
I think it really depends on somebody's play. Like me, I'm more of an erratic gamer when it comes to my aiming. I like to flick. I like the quickness, and I know some people like the steadiness. Where 8 is a very steady, comfortable area to be.
Right.
So some people like the smoothest, to where some people like being cracked out.
Right.
I mean, I will say,
yeah, go ahead,
day one, I'm gonna crank everything up to max and go into Crucible and just see how insane it feels.
Yeah.
I'm gonna do that, but if I can't get used to 10, I certainly can't see myself getting used to 20. But I mean, we'll see. We'll see. It might be something that we become forced to get used to. If more players start engaging with PC players, depending upon how much of a, I know we're not going to be forced into matchmaking with them.
Right.
But it doesn't mean you're not going to be going up against people who are using 20 because they do play PC players.
True.
And it might become a thing that we are forced to get used to, because we're gonna have to see what 20 does. If 20 allows you to instant 360 like they can do on M&K, that's gonna be the question.
Is it all right to name another content creator, like not anything serious?
Yeah, go ahead.
Like I was talking to Rusty earlier about Cami Cakes. Back whenever there was the bug where PC players were able to leak in,
good old
and
Cami.
every once in a while get,
Yeah,
that's just one person you don't want to run into on a console versus PC player. But
oh god, yeah.
he was saying it was so unfair. Like he said, he felt dirty because he was able to whip around, shoot somebody before they were able. Like you were watching them turn, and it was like this creaky old door where Cami was already turned around, popping 3 times in the head.
Yep. Well, I mean, you see that all the time in Sir Demetrius videos. Whenever he sees a person with like either A, without traction, or B, a controller player, that he can clearly tell he has that little creaky door sound effect in to let you know, like, hey man, this guy ain't got the traction on. I can clearly tell this guy is a controller player.
And see, in my personal thing, I'm glad they're adding that. It's going to be awesome, but me being a PlayStation 4 player, I'm already going to be at a disadvantage against somebody who is on PC, to where I think people who are on PlayStation 5 are not going to have that disadvantage as bad.
Yeah, I can see that, yeah.
It's definitely going to be great to see it, but how much am I going to benefit from it from being on an older gen console?
You got a point there.
Think about something else too, like if we go into say Iron Man or with like 3 of us, and then we like match up with the 3 stack on our team, and one of them 3 stacks is a PC player.
That's not how that will work. That is not how that will work. The only way we're gonna get dragged into any match with a PC player, based off the way Bungie has it designed, is we have to team up with like say Shovel. Say we team up with Shovel while he's playing PC, and we go into Crucible, that is the only way we should match up against PC players.
Well, why wouldn't that happen if we like, randomly got matched up with a 3-stack that had PC? Like,
Well, because
that's like if they got matched up with us, so they
okay,
wouldn't have PC.
so here's the
either.
thing.
Like,
Here's the thing. If they like we go into if we just connect as us as console players and we go into Crucible and we don't have a PC player on our team, we're not in the PC pool. If another 3-stack is say 2 consoles and a PC player, because they're matched up with a PC player, those 2 consoles are dragged out of the console pool and thrown into the PC pool.
what if they end up on our team though? Like,
No, that's the thing.
Like, group of 12 people though.
We wouldn't match them at all because they wouldn't be in the same pool as us.
Yeah, as soon as a PC
Oh,
player
gotcha.
gets in a fire team with a console player, it is all PC lobby.
I can actually back that up. My experience from Apex Legends, I played with Doc, which Toby knows.
Yes.
He's a PC player. Whenever I match up with him, I'm going against PC and console. But when I'm by myself, it's only Xbox and PlayStation. The crossplay is still there, but until a PC player actually gets into your lobby yourself, like your party team, you've never faced them.
Right.
Once they join up, you're going against everybody on PC. There's less console, more PC, but it's not active until that happens.
Right. All right.
Just never
So,
play a shovel.
well, we can just PvP is going to be a touchy subject for us.
But they have a 6-stack then for sure.
Because that's the other thing. Even if we do go into the PC pool as console players, cheating is still rampant. Yes, Bungie's got that new battle eye or whatever it's called. Yeah, that is supposed to help with the anti-cheat. We will still match with a little bit of them. And then one more thing before we move on to the next topic is, and you guys said what you plan to do with the sensitivity stuff. My initial plan right out the gate is bump my sensitivity, controller sensitivity, to a 12 or 13, and my ADS sensitivity modifier down to a 0.5, and my sprint turn speed scaler up to a 0.8, and just see how that feels.
Yeah,
that's going to be my initial thing.
Like, what's our ADS modifier right now technically?
It's a 1. It's 1-to-1. So you're
turn it down.
Yeah, you'll be able to next season.
Like, that's how fast you aim down sights.
No. That's that. Okay. So when you're hip firing, Rusty, when you're looking around, not aiming down sights, and you're at an 8, that speed you're able to move that camera around in is the same speed you're able to move your camera around in when you aim down sights right now. Next season, like what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna move my sensitivity to a 12, so I'll be able to move my camera around, 4 notches higher, just based off the scaling here, because I currently run an 8. I'll be able to move my hip fire, 4 seconds higher, or not seconds, but 4 notches. But because I'll have my ADS sensitivity modifier to a 0.5, if it works the way I'm thinking it works, that would mean my ADS speed is a 6 mobility or 6 sensitivity right now. So 2 under what I currently use right now. And that's just because sometimes I feel like the 6 is better. The hip fire stuff, I like where the 8's at. But, if I got to go 4 more up to get the ADS where I want it to be, I'll do that. But I can always play around with the scaling else in another way too. So I can always, it's going to be a lot of trial and error.
That's pretty neat that you can change the different speeds of those.
Yeah. All right. So next is Bungie's long-term ability plans that they mentioned in the first TWAB. They said, let's see, hold on, here it is right now. They laid out their vision for how we see subclass abilities fitting into the Destiny 2 sandbox moving forward. Their philosophy for ability design is that abilities should complement the core combat of Destiny but dominate it. I agree with that. It should enhance the game's gunplay and not replace it. I think J5 and Pro really do agree with that one as well, based off several complaints they've had in Crucible matches over the last 2 or 3 seasons. Rusty, how about you? What is your stance on that?
I'm all about it too, man.
Okay.
Gunplay.
Now, with that being said, and the things that they mention further down in this particular TWAB, I feel like that kind of like all the passes they're making almost seem like they contradict what Bungie just said there, which I mean, you know, we'll get into all the different changes that they talk about. But does anybody else feel that way from what they've read about these changes?
You're saying it contradicts how? Say that.
So
Say
like
that again.
Bungie's, you know, they're saying, you know, the abilities should enhance it and not replace it. But I feel like they didn't do enough with, you know, mods and, you know, some of the ability changes they make, or at least they say they're making on Tuesday. It almost doesn't feel like they've done enough to bring them back. It almost feels like that it's in the exact same spot. Like there's still abilities that are gonna let you, like, okay, the biggest example I can say, you know, your middle tree striker, your code of the missile, your initial override. What's the name of that melee J5? That I can't think of it off the top of my head.
For middle tree striker?
Yeah,
Ballistic
you jump
slam?
in the air and you slam
Ballistic
down.
slam.
Ballistic slam. There you go. So, you know, it's right now when you activate initial override, you slide over ammo. You don't get any energy to your melee, your cooldown. But come next season, you're gonna get 20% every time you slide over a special or heavy, if your ability's on cooldown. See what I'm saying? It kind of contradicts. You're gonna have, in theory, more uptime then than you do now.
Yeah. Yeah, I guess I can see.
And there's a couple other things, like we'll get to it with the Warlock top tree nerfs, you know, because they talk about it there as well. You know, yes, they took away an Icarus dash, but at the same time, they made some changes to heat rises, where they extended the timer, and because of the extended timer, you know, you also get more energy back from kills for your abilities while you're in the air with heat rises.
Yeah.
So
Truth
that's
be
what I'm
told,
saying.
I think I would venture to say most top tree dons would rather have heat rises scrapped altogether and keep their double dodge.
Probably,
That's just my
and that's
opinion.
probably even going to be more said when we get to those particular changes. But do you see what I'm saying? Like, I get this is long-term ability plans, but they didn't really lay anything out here that kind of says, hey, you know, we're, other than them saying this is what we want to do, there's nothing there that kind of gives me the sense that they're currently working on it, or, you know, any kind of reassurance that it's going to happen. It just feels like something they said, hey, we realize this is an issue and we want to do something, but this is what we're doing right now. I don't know. I just feel like it's slightly contradicts based off what they've done.
Yeah. Yeah, it does.
Anybody else got any inputs for that?
I don't really know too much about it. I mean,
Not really, no.
Okay, that's fine. If you want, we could just move on to the next one, which is the stasis freeze, the season 15 ability tuning. We'll start with the stasis freezes. Frozen players can now initiate breakout while airborne. How's everybody feel about that one?
I have a problem with the stasis breakout altogether. You know, they said they changed it to where players can get out fairly faster. I don't feel like it's changed at all. I feel like I'm in frozen even longer. It doesn't matter how much I mash the button. So we'll see if it changes.
Well, to that extent, the overall, you know, freezes, the ones they were talking about weren't super ones. They didn't change the super ones. The super ones were still 5 seconds, 3 seconds if you mash the breakout button. And that's another thing. That's just a personal issue with that whole thing. If I tap, you know, circle to breakout, you know, and I repetitively tap it, I kind of feel like I shouldn't have to wait the 3 seconds. If I tap it, I should be out within a second after tapping it.
Mm-hmm.
I get how that's kind of unfair, but if you're gonna do it that way, what you should do is let me stay frozen for 2 seconds or a second and a half, then give me the option to break out. Because if I'm gonna be stuck for the 3 seconds, I'd rather wait for an option to come out as to be like, hey, do you want to break out now? That way, I think that would make people feel, you know, less annoyed by it.
Yeah.
That's true.
So let me ask you this, bro, because I know you play a lot of aerial play, don't you, as a hunter?
Not really.
No?
I mean, I do it to get away from things, but I've never been good at jumping in the air and shoot people.
Okay.
Like
Have you been frozen in the air before?
I have, but I was killed instantly, so
Okay.
I never experienced
So
actually staying in the
this
air.
would probably be more of a J5 thing because I know he loves his
Yeah.
long rampants. Do you find yourself being frozen in the air often, J5?
Often, if I'm frozen in the air, it's when I'm in the middle of a thunderstrike, and I mean it's off topic, but it's absolutely ridiculous that it's a one you know one slam thank you ma'am super, and you're frozen in it, and when you break of the freeze, you're not even still in the super anymore. Your super's gone. Like it should literally stop you,
Yeah.
in my opinion, just for a second, and then you continue flying.
I agree.
See, I can
Or
agree with
just
you
it
on
stops
that.
you and you keep your super. Your super never gets used
Yeah,
until you smash.
you know, your
Or a
super could
super
be like a
refund,
bar.
yeah.
It could be like a bar that
Be
drains.
nice.
Yeah.
And
As
then if you
much
get
as I,
good.
as much as I, do not like the super, I fully can agree with J5 because it's a one shot melee. I've lost
It's in the
my
Chaos Reach too,
sickle.
right?
Yeah, Chaos Reach too, but Chaos has that built-in save super. Anyways,
Yeah, that's right.
keep going, pro.
I've tried Blade Barrage. I've tried all the throwables because, in my personal opinion, right now in this game, roaming supers are trash. I think everybody wants that one bang, try to get as many kills as they can, be done, recharge the super again. But I've definitely tried throwing Blade Barrage, and it's the exact same thing happens like with J5. I'm throwing it, and a Warlock comes up, freezes me, and once I finally break out, I'm back to my normal self. My super's gone.
Right.
That's very annoying. So I get where he's coming from. It's you should either get like 50 to 75% of your super back, or you should still be able to very much use the super right afterwards. Like it's like a cancel your elimination when you die. I think once you respawn or once you unfreeze, you still have your super to use. That's just my opinion on it.
So, in regards to the, roaming supers are kind of trash, everybody wants the one-off. I think part of the reason that one-offs are so enticing is with a one-off, you fire it off, your super bar's gone, you can immediately start building back to it. With the roaming, all those kills you get don't build back to your super, which I think is part of, the reason why one-offs are such a big thing.
Yeah, because you watch like anybody in trials, like your big gamers like Grenadier Jake or so forth. They like they'll be able to pop, get out of their scenario, even though that the tornado is trash at the moment in PvP. They still use it because they're able to pop it and get away and re-engage. So that's just me. I just think one-offs are in a better state at the point than roaming.
All right, so I don't mean to interrupt anybody else if anybody else has input, but we're gonna kind of get to roaming stuff later on when we get to the shade binders changes. So I feel like we can revisit this topic when we get there. The next thing we have is the shortened breakout animation and camera transition. This means that once you decide to break out, you'll be able to fight back sooner. So I
like
think
that.
the only reason I'm gonna like that is if that means the animation will start before the 3 seconds is up, so that way when those 3 seconds are up, you are out and able to fight. If that's what it means, fantastic. If, because it says shortened breakout animation, it still means that you're going to start the breakout animation at 3 seconds, then we're going to have to wait and see. The camera transition part, I don't know what that means. I haven't paid enough attention to that. I'm sure as all of us here, typically when we're frozen, we're dead. Like, that's just typically the way it is.
Wouldn't camera transitions mean from going from seeing your whole body? Because when you're frozen, you see your whole body.
You know what? You've got a good point there, sir. You got a good point. I did not think of it that way.
That'd be the way I'd think of it? Because when you're
go
frozen,
from
you see
third
your
person
body.
to first person. Yep. So, Rusty J5, you got any comments on that one?
Not really. I mean, there's only so much I can say about the stasis freeze. I mean, it, within itself, it's just fundamentally, it's a thing that it's interesting, but it's just counterintuitive to I think what people want in Crucible. People cannot stand the concept of being slowed. It doesn't matter how much they nerf it until unless they just completely eradicate it. I think that people there's always going to be people that aren't happy,
That's
which
fair.
I can understand. The people hate being slowed. People hate anything that slows down the gameplay,
That's fair.
especially in
Which,
a
that's
situation
great that
of.
you bring that up that way, because that's going to be our next topic of talk
Mm,
in a minute. So just finish your thoughts. Sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt.
I was gonna say, especially in the situation of something like all I would say the hunter, but it's not. It's the warlock too, and it's the titan super too. I mean, it seems practically pointless to have for any sort of breakout animation or breakout rules when it comes to the super because you're going to die before you can break out anyway, unless the hunter just unless the character or player just completely chooses to abandon you and leave you frozen there, which is not going to happen.
Right.
You're gonna die. So I would almost rather think it just like we've said before, just be swapped to just an instant death
Right.
as opposed to a freeze at all. It just I don't know.
Mm-hmm.
I
I
mean,
think
that's
if
fair.
people are I think people are willing to I think people would have accepted stasis a lot more if it was just a freeze that just instantly just froze your soul and made you implode from the inside out as opposed to actually freezing you and you're just sitting there waiting.
I think when I first saw, the freezing in Crucible during, those initial trailers, I think what I wanted, because when you die and your ghost is just sitting there and you kind of see everybody
Mhm.
moving around you as you wait to respawn, I
Mhm.
was kind of hoping that when you were frozen, you were dead. And then if they wanted to, break your frozen carcass, it was a benefit to them. Like, how some of the stasis stuff works. You shatter something, you get some sort of bonus, or you shatter something and you do some sort of damage to nearby enemies. I was kind of hoping that when you were frozen, that was it. Like, that was you were dead. And instead of, just your ghost hanging there, what it was you were just watching as you waited to respawn, as somebody would either A, shatter you, or B, you would just melt away and then you would respawn. That's what I was
You
kind
know,
of hoping for.
you made me think of something interesting that I've never thought of before. With saying that, what if part of the stasis mechanic was that it doesn't freeze you, it kills you, it freezes your ghost, and what you're dealing with from dying to stasis is not just sitting there frozen waiting for the guy to shoot you, as opposed to your ghost is frozen and now you've got like a 20-second respawn timer. You know,
Ooh, 20 seconds would have been
Jesus.
rough.
silly idea, but I just thought
No,
of
no, no.
it
I
like
get what you're saying, but yeah, but that's basically how I was wording it. You just kind of delved deeper on the topic, which is good. I like that. That was nice. But how do you, Rusty Pro? How do you two feel about it? If stasis worked that way, instead of feeling like, oh,
On the
I'm
spot.
frozen, I can either try and break out and die, or I can just wait and die.
I
Would
just
you
set
have
my
felt
faith.
better? Would you have felt better if when you were frozen, it was because you were dead?
I think it'd be a cooler concept than sitting there watching some dude trying to line up a headshot.
Right.
Or you can barely sit there and fucking bag or emote on
Yeah.
you while you're
Right.
like, God damn motherfucker.
Right. And at that point, if they did, bag or emote on you, it would have been the same thing as if somebody ran up, shotgunned you, and thought they were great and bagged and emoted on you.
Hmm.
It would have been the
Yeah.
same thing. It's just instead you're frozen at that point.
I think it would have made a lot more funner, in my opinion. Like, because instead of sitting there what we just said, somebody freezes you. Most of the time, the asshole's gonna bag you,
Right.
or emote, or line up a headshot even though you're not moving. I would rather be dead, frozen, and that'd be over with.
Agreed.
Yeah.
So I agree.
Okay.
It'd be funny if in their little initial trailer they would have included someone getting frozen, then someone goes up and does the freeze tag emote on them or something.
Yeah.
Like, that's what you gotta look forward to.
All
Enjoy.
right.
I
So,
don't
go ahead, J5.
jumping ahead a little bit, but I don't think it's going to be as much of an issue. Like if we actually do get, a new subclass with Witch Queen, and it is like a decay sort of thing, and it pretty much revolves around tick damage. I don't
Right.
think it's going to be anywhere near as much of a problem with a subclass like that.
Yeah, because we already have it.
We have
Yeah.
Thorn. Yep. We have Thorn. We have
Necrotics.
Laymanarch. We have Necrotic Grips. We have Burning from Solar subclasses.
Mhm.
So yeah, I mean, it'll be more of that, just probably more scaled to buffing the DOTs, which might be the main thing to worry about. But like J5 said, that's skipping around. We can get there later. The last thing on the stasis freeze is differentiated long freeze and short freeze visual treatment to make each status easier to identify. I think at
That'd
this
be
point with
nice.
stasis, I think people are just so fed up with being freeze. I don't think a lot of people are going to notice this.
Mm-hmm.
I think people, brainstorming again, I think people might have cared less if they would have introduced, something for, the other subclasses or the other types of weapons. We have stasis weapons, and we have stasis. What if, we started getting weapons that, weren't just solar, they were actually burn weapons. They inflicted burn just by shooting somebody with them. Just like stasis will freeze, arc that does tick damage, void that constant void weapons that will, they get enough bullets in you, you constantly are suppressed.
Yeah.
Something to at least meet stasis and be just as annoying as stasis. I think
Mm-hmm.
that would have been another thing they could have done.
I think that would have been more of a people have been clamoring that for years. 7 years of Destiny in total. People have been clamoring for that. But I think if stasis weapons would come out and introduce a concept like that, then people would be like really up in arms that Solar, Arc, and Void don't do something along those lines. But once again, the Borderlands in me is like, yeah, that would be a very great concept. I'd love to see that. I would love to see that implemented. In Destiny and PvP in particular is going to be always going to be the problem, and it's just the nature of the game, unfortunately. But Bungie can always figure something out if they decide to go that route.
Mm-hmm.
All right, if we got nothing more on that, it's slide time, boys. So, sliding next season, you're going to incur
Fuck 'em,
penalties.
hunters.
We're going to lose 20 stability while sliding. You're gonna your shotguns are gonna or your pellet shotguns are gonna have plus 15% pellet spread, and you're gonna take 1.5 times flinch in a game where
Good.
flinch is already a heavy problem in a lot of people's opinions. Now I have some notes here. We'll go with the first note, and from there, when we get to the second set of notes, that's where it's gonna be like a whole conversation. But the first note. Seems like it particularly targets shotguns. Would you agree?
Yep.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, the flinch, the pellet spread, and the stability. That's all, the flinch and the stability is going to affect all guns. But the additional 15% pellet spread, that's a little rough.
Oh yeah.
Granted,
Teach 'em hunters to get off their knees.
as somebody who recently discovered that most of his sliding is done on a Titan only, it's gonna hurt me a little bit, but I think I'll live. J5 is a man who mostly plays in the air. How do you feel?
I mean, if I'm on a warlock, I'm in the air, or if I'm just messing around with rampants, I'm in the air. But to tell you the truth, I mean, other than ballistic slamming, I'm usually on the ground now. I mean, sliding is a big part of my playstyle, and it had to be, and it became a part of my playstyle because it was a matter of evolve or die. That's the way people played, even all the way back in Destiny 1. I would hear you tell me stories about, constant issues with, Fellwinners and Matador and
Oh
sliding.
man.
And that's the way it was. You weren't abusing anything in the game. It's not a quick swap glitch, or something else. It's a mechanic of the game. And it really feels like they are catering to players that either refuse or cannot learn to adapt to that element of the
Mm-hmm.
game. It's no different than hunters that they triple jump and they run Icarus on all their hand cannons. They go invis, they triple jump, they three tap you from the air. It's part of their playstyle, and they had to learn how to do it to compete, to evolve, or get left behind. If you want to stay on the ground, never strafe, and just pray somebody holds still while you shoot them in the head, then you're only going to get so far in PvP. And a change that's put into place to help players like that, to me, is just it's ridiculous. And then on top of that, for them to go out of their way to say that it feels much less worse in practice than it does on paper. It doesn't feel as noticeable as it does as you think it's going to be based upon the actual stats that's on the paper. Well, if it's not going to be that noticeable, then why do it to begin with?
Fair enough.
So to me, either that's a lie, and it's going to be very noticeable because players who do slide with snipers, players who slide with chaperone, players who slide with pellet spreads, or hand cannons, they, that play Crucible nonstop, they know, what their accuracy cone is. Um, they know when they're going to line up the shot and when they're not. So they're going to know immediately how effective it is and how effective it isn't. So if it's
Right.
not effective, why do it? And to to me, it is going to be effective. So there's no point in telling us it's not going to be.
Okay.
But like I said, sliding is it's not. Yeah, I understand you get tired of people, constantly running towards you, sliding with a shotgun, sliding around corners, but that's part of it. People crouch around corners with high impact fusions. People camp with scout rifles and hard scoping on their snipers. Uh, you know, so
Can I
that's
offer a
my two
theory?
cents. Yeah.
All right. So my theory is part of this is to um not make sliding quote unquote a bad option. I think it's to dissuade players from abusing sliding, because how many times has this happened to you where you go to shoot a player, and I know it's mostly a Titan thing, but I've seen it happen with hunters and very rarely with warlocks. You go to shoot them, and then you go to melee them, or maybe you just go to continuously shoot them, and they melee you, and all of a sudden all your shots miss because they're desynced. How many times that happened to you?
Quite a bit.
How many times that happened to you when somebody slides?
It
I
happens.
Because
I
that
have a
happens quite a bit to
crazy
me when they
theory.
slide.
Yeah, I have a very crazy theory about the whole sliding and getting shot thing myself, but I think when you slide, I think there is a bug in the game because I've shot people in the head, whether sliding and get a hit marker but no damage registration.
Right.
It's like it becomes non-existent, but it's only when somebody's sliding
Right. And
that I've
it's
overran that
part to
shit.
do with that desync,
Mm-hmm.
with that peer-to-peer connection. Gotta love it. But what's your theory, Pro?
No, about the adjustments they're doing, or about what I just said.
No, about you said about the sliding. You said you had a crazy theory.
Yeah, that's what I think. I think sliding there is some kind of bug
Oh, okay, you think it's the
or
bug.
some kind of
Gotcha.
game. Yeah, I think there's
Gotcha.
something involved into the slide.
All right. Now, I mean,
But
like I said, I could see that because it's the same deal with melees.
you know, I've pulled a shotgun out to counter a guy shotgun sliding,
Mm-hmm.
and my shot didn't register, and his killed me. I've
Right.
never really cared for sliding myself. I don't, as you guys know, I'm more of a primary user than it comes to anything.
Uh-huh.
But this is one of the things that caught me off guard. Like I didn't understand why they were doing this.
Right.
Because it's like teabagging in Halo. Slide shotgun's Destiny. It's one of those things that is the game. It's what
True.
makes the game. There's something about it. It makes no sense to get rid of teabagging in Halo because we
Right.
all know back then it was you kill somebody across the map with a sniper, they zoom in and see you're teabagging.
Right.
I understand it's a big problem. A lot more people are getting away from the primary and doing mainly energy like shotguns, fusions more and more.
Right.
I'm kind of happy it's happening, but at the same time, I'm confused about it.
Mm-hmm.
Because it's going to make more people use primary, hopefully, or it's going to encourage a lot more people to camp around corners. Is
Right.
what's going to happen.
Okay.
Yeah, I will say I agree with that. That's the only thing I was going to chime in with. If you are making it harder or more counterintuitive to challenge people up close with close range weapons, then ultimately we're gonna run into another scout and sniper and pulse meta
Well,
and a lot of
with that being
lame.
brought up, we have rally barricade buffs that we'll be getting to here in a second. But before we get to that, I did have a second note here, and I wanted to get your guys' opinion on this, because this is the thing I thought of immediately after I was like, oh, this seems like it's targeting shotguns. So when this was first announced, it seemed like it would affect fusion rifles as well. But I'm honestly not too sure how this is going to affect fusion rifles once this goes into effect, because they're doing some reworks on the fusion rifles, which we'll get more into those. But the main things here are After the update, high impact fusions are going to be less reliant on stability and can stack range. So I immediately feel like they, of all the fusion rifles, suffer the least amount of hurt from this.
Rapid
Would
frames
you
are going
guys
to get,
agree?
yeah.
Yeah.
So precision adaptives, based off the changes they're talking about, they seem like they're going to be mostly unchanged, because the small adjustments they're making to that. I feel like that minus 20. This is all theory talk here. Is, once the update goes live, that minus 20 might put precisions and adaptives where they are right now while sliding. Would you agree that that's possibly a thing that could be the case?
Could be.
And then, of course, with rapid fire fusions, by Bungie's words, they'll be most reliant on stability. But I don't know how that's going to work, because some of the changes they made might actually help counteract the minus stability. Which once we get back into all the fusion rifle talk, when we get to rapid fires, we can come back and visit this topic. But I don't know. Well, we could start with Titan changes. First one's being the rally barricades. Can't tell you the last time I used one. J5, you're our resident Titan main here. When's the last time you used a rally barricade?
It's been a long time. I think probably since they offered instant ammo refills, no different than what Loonies used to do
Right.
for Wells. Probably
Double tap
usually
circle?
when you see somebody in Crucible running one, I'm not going to deny the possibility that there could be a player that likes using them or it's part of their playstyle, but I'd argue 9 times out of 10, if you see a player using one, it's just because they accidentally turned it on, as opposed to tiring. I can't see any real benefit. Maybe peak shotting, but that can be done side to side in a tiring.
Right.
So,
Well,
yeah.
so as our resident Titan main, how do you feel about these buffs? Plus 30 stability, plus 10% range, minus 50% flinch.
I'm gonna try it definitely. I think what you're going to see a lot of is Titan and Warlock duos, empowering rifts. Warlocks and empowering rifts hanging behind, rally barricades with scouts and snipers. Or just,
So
all lots of characters doing that.
So would you say that this is going to promote a more sit back and snipe playstyle?
Uh, yeah, without a doubt. I mean, you're gonna have your Titans with the business, hanging out behind the rally barricades. You're gonna
Swamp,
see
we
that.
looking at you, boy.
Oh man.
That's definitely gonna be a thing. But I really foresee it being combined with empowering Rift to have some deadly results, unless they deliberately find a way to patch it to where the two don't work together.
Right.
But it's likely that they will, since since Middle Tree Sentinel, the shield will work with the well. You just can't be standing in the well.
True.
But overall, I think it's a good change, because it was either they do something like this for it, or it was never going to be used, and they were never going to give it back the instant ammo, the instant reload that it had.
Okay. So with that being said, I got 2 questions for you. First one, if this sinks in and is as brutal as we think it might be, overall good or bad for PvP? I will take good, I will take bad, and I will also take depends on the map. Those are the 3 options I'm looking for.
I'm gonna go probably depends on the map. It's going to be annoying to deal with depending upon how good those buffs play out in actual gameplay in real time.
Right.
I would say in a way it kind of leans more towards bad than good, because even though I have the ability to do it, that it means I'm also going to be having to play against it, just like other classes are going to have to play against it,
True.
or benefit from it.
True.
Depending upon how many Titans are on the team.
All right.
I think there's a very, very good chance that it could completely make Titans seem useless.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I could
There's
see
a
that.
good chance it's going to make them redundant, because Titans don't offer anything other than the ability to shoot through the barricade. But I've made my thoughts on that known before.
Right.
Exotics are supposed to take what you have and make them better. They're not supposed to present you with something new that's cool that you've
But
wanted for a
with a
long time,
downside.
but make you have downsides. There's
Right.
certain exotic weapons that have downsides, and there's certain with potential upsides, and then there's certain exotic weapons and armor that's just all upside.
Right.
And I think the game needs definite better balancing
Right.
in that regard. Otherwise, you're literally spending time in R&D. Or I don't think it's called R&D with a game dev studio, but
It's
you're
basically the same thing. We good.
yeah, you're basically R&Ding, stuff that's just not going to be used,
Right.
you know, unless except for by casual players that don't know better,
Right.
So
Well, and the second question, and it's not on the script here because I just thought of it. I already know the answer to this question, which is why I didn't put it on here. Hey, you gonna use this over a towering barricade in hard, difficult PVE content, i.e., GMs?
possibly, but my instincts tell me no. The towering is just way too safe of a play to get a homeboy up. It's just way too safe of a play, and we really don't, I wouldn't say we really need those kind of buffs in PvE per se. Unless like what's the stability buff? 30%?
30%.
Yeah, unless in real time that
Actually,
plays out
sorry,
really,
not
really good.
30%. Plus 30. Just plus 30 to
30.
stability.
We'll have to see how
That
that
one was
plays
labeled as a
out.
flat number.
We'll have to see how that plays out, but simply because the towering barricade is going to sink further into the ground with the update in the new season.
Well, I'm glad you brought that up because that's our next topic. It's not towering. It's all barricades.
All barricades, okay. But the thing is that a towering, not only now is going to protect you at the bottom by your feet, it's more verticality, which is very important when you're trying to pick up somebody in a GM.
Yep, because slopes and hills are going to be a pain in the butt to throw your barricades over.
So if even though we're not going to have Navoda in or Disgraced in the Nightfall set
It's possible.
lineup. It was possible, but let's just say we're not.
Okay.
In that scenario, when you first encounter Navoda and you got to deal with the hive boomer barrier on the cliff on the top left, a rally is not going to help you there if you've got to pick somebody up.
True.
So I just think overall towering is still going to be the play. Rally is never, in my opinion, going to be the play for P. I could be wrong, but I just don't think it's going to be the play for in-game PvE. Again, unless they give it the reload buff, and they're never going to do that again.
Right.
So I'm still probably going to use towering. I will try rally, but once I get farmed or I get my teammate farmed trying to pick them up and they revive and they instantly get sniped in the head because the barricade only goes up to their waist, then the towering is going to go right back on.
Right. One more
PvP,
thing on all
probably,
barricades.
Rally. Probably rally.
One more thing on all barricades, because you also said PvP. The movement buff, or not buff, but the players moving at high velocity now take more damage when through hostile Titan barricades. How do you think that's going to play out?
I think I'm going to enjoy it a lot, and other classes and other players are not going to enjoy it so much.
Right.
But everybody's got their stuff that's annoying, man. Everybody's got their stuff that's annoying. Titans have stuff that's annoying already. Hunters have it. Warlocks have it. So
okay.
It's another annoying thing,
Yeah.
But I think it definitely should be, a thing. If you walk into a trip mine or walk into a smoke bomb, which they do pop on radar, they do have visual cues right there on the screen, but if you still walk right on them, you have to suffer the consequences. A barricade, a Titan barricade, especially a glowing red one, is very obviously right in front of you.
True.
It's not a trip mine on a wall or on a floor. It's not a smoke that you could easily miss.
Mm-hmm.
So if you blatantly just run through that to try to get a quick shotgun kill, yeah, there should be a consequence for that.
Okay. Well, that's our resident Titan main on all the barricade buffs. Let's ask our Warlock and our Hunter main, Rusty and Pro. What do you guys think about the barricade stuff?
I'll let Rusty go first.
Oh hell.
Floor's all yours, buddy.
You got the
It'll
steam.
be interesting. No more slidey slides, more laning and stuff. Probably gonna come back and bite him in the ass. But
Right.
I guarantee you going to 16 will have some nerfs to scouts and pulses and whatnot.
Mm-hmm.
But I mean, hey, the whole tower barricades being lower, welcome change. Fucking who else was it? This the rally barricade buffs too. I mean,
Yeah.
definitely not using that in GMs. PvP only. Might dick around with it in like regular PvE content, but otherwise, towering all day.
Right. Okay, pro.
I have actually PTSD with rally barricades and PvP going to 5500 in comp, running into people sniping and grenading, but yet that was back when it was reloading.
Right.
Oh,
So
like
you're
instant
just
load
gonna
or
have
just the
flashbacks.
fast load?
Yeah, like everybody was running 2 grenade launchers and just crouching, just doo 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 doo, and
Shit.
it's definitely PTSD. But I mean, it's definitely gonna change the play style. There's definitely gonna be people sitting back, like J5 and Mercy have said. It's definitely gonna be laning, and that's cool and all because it's gonna be more of a gun game. But it's gonna be a lot more harder for me being a hand cannon main to close that gap when you got 4 or 5 titans popping their head up like Ditto. I'm glad it's not going to be the instant reload though. That was my biggest problem. If they brought that
Right.
back, that was going to be a huge issue in this gameplay now because it's so hard to fight 2 titans using rallies and grenades because they're just constantly firing rounds off. And now that fight line's going to be unlimited ammo, you can only imagine the hell that people could have done with that. But that's my take on it, really. I mean, it's only going to be good in PvP. I don't see us using that at GMs because when you res you're floating in there, you're getting sniped in the face.
Yeah.
Although the rally still has the reload, right? Like you can.
Yeah, it's
Reload
it's
fast
getting
or
added
whatever.
functionality.
So you can like still sit behind there with the line ramp, just like.
Well, I don't
Like-
think. Yeah, I think you mean fighting line and not line rampant.
Oh
But,
yeah, fine line. Whatever.
I don't. Based off some of the changes that they're doing a fighting line, I don't think it's going to be as bad because it's not a. I don't think it's a full 100 plus reload. And with the changes they're making a fighting line,
It'd be a
Like, even
nightmare.
if you put on like 2 reload perks and
maybe
the
we'll,
barricade,
we'll have to see.
be wicked.
Right, but if that's all we got on that, we're gonna move into Titan subclass changes. Starting with the bane of everybody's existence for the last 8 or 9 months, Behemoth. So
Bye.
they said here that a lot of the nerfs they've made to Behemoths recently have really made it underutilized in PvE, which
Hell yeah.
I don't know who the hell was running the Behemoth in PvE to begin with. I don't know why you would do that when you got,
TWAB.
bubbles and you got, if you're doing Atheon, you got middle tree with that chess piece. Help me out here, J5.
Bubbles with what chance?
No,
Loopy?
no, not bubbles. The middle tree solar titan with the
Oh,
heart of inmost
part
light.
of most lie, baby.
There we go.
Oh yeah.
I don't know who's running Behemoth, but these changes they do make, they're welcomed even for the PvP side. So Cryoclasm, first and foremost. While equipped, your base slide now shatters crystals and frozen enemies, which is good. You don't have to sprint for a second and a quarter of a second to get that. Also, they increase the duration of the screen effects, notifying players that Cryoclasm long slide is ready from a 1 second screen effect to approximately a 4.5 second screen effect. Jeff, have you ever noticed the screen effect?
Not necessarily. I really haven't.
The edges of
Paid
your
much
screen kind of glow white for a second.
Yeah.
So now that's going to go to about 4.5 seconds. I'm
I
worried.
have not
I'm worried that's going to be a little
paid-
too long and too distracting.
I've not paid much attention to it simply because when they nerfed the subclass, I pretty much abandoned it.
Right.
Same.
The change to Cryoclasm slide to me was one of the death nails to it, simply because I mean, they're fixing one of the major issues, which is the base slide can now break ice,
Yeah.
because there's so many scenarios where even regardless, before the change to the cryoclasm, you still had to get a sprint animation going, and sometimes you couldn't get that to happen if somebody threw a glacier grenade. It didn't freeze you, but
But
it
it stops your
landed right in
movement.
front of you. It stopped your movement, and there's nothing you could do. So it's good that they're changing that.
Right.
But I still would rather go back to 2 slides and then a cooldown as opposed to having to work up to the slide.
Well, you bring that up. When we get to top tree Dawn nerfs, I do have something I want to submit to you and see if you agree with it. But we'll get there later. I guess the next thing would be the Shiver Strike. They're increasing that movement speed by 25%.
I would have to play with it. I would have to play with it and see what it's like, see how close it is to the original. The original was so good for knocking somebody out, and also you finally having an evasive maneuver as a Titan.
Yes.
Because, you know, I tend to think if they were going to give us Twilight Garrison back, they would have done it. Though, we
It's still a
definitely.
possibility.
It's possible, but Titans need an evasive maneuver. Warlocks have it if they are willing to play top tree Dawn. All hunters have it just built in because it's part of their class inherently. But Titans had nothing for actual evasion, so
Right.
You can still use it for evasion.
It's just not an instant get out of jail free card.
Yeah, it's not an instant get out of jail free card.
It's do I have a moment? Yes. Can I afford some damage? Yes. If not, don't do it.
Yeah.
question,
So they're making the change. So go ahead.
Question on Shiver Strike. That's your melee, right?
Yeah, it's the
Yes.
that's the melee override.
Okay, because
fully
I was
charged one.
questioning. Yeah, because that not a Titan movement. The only problem with that being invasive, I get what you're saying. It comes from invasive, but that is like the only one besides Middle Tree Striker that has like a delay once you pop it or use it. I think that's definitely a downfall to that invasiveness. It works to get away, but at the same time you stop and you're a sitting duck at that point.
Right.
Yeah.
But that's what was so good about it pre-nerf was, yeah, you had to pop it and wait a second, but it allowed you to get away quick. So we'll see what this 25% does. We'll see what it does.
I mean, personally, I would almost rather, shoulder charge and shield bash work, just like a powered warlock melee, whereas, you do it, whether you hit somebody or not, you've used it. But instead, those melees are allowed to hang around until you actually make contact, with another player.
Right.
Or an enemy. Whereas the Shiver Strike is just you use it and then it's gone. And since for me it was mainly used as an evasive maneuver, it would have been nice if the same thing was applied to Shiver Strike, where if you do not hit a target, the charge does not go away.
Right.
Probably like a cooldown or something.
No cool. I mean maybe.
Maybe kind of broke if you just go over and over and over.
To be fair, with the other ones,
yeah.
with the other ones, you have to sprint before you can use them. And if that would have been the case, if it would have just been another one of those, I don't think we'd be having this talk.
No.
Probably not. And I might be willing to make that compromise if I was in the position. I would probably make the compromise that Shiver Strike is on sprint only, but it has no cooldown and it has no charge. It can be used indefinitely unless you use it to kill an enemy.
Right.
And then the charge is gone. I would be willing to make that sacrifice.
Right.
But it's not up to me.
All right. So last thing in Behemoth, Whisper of Rhyme. There was a bug with the overshield provided by Whisper of Rhyme that was not scaling precision damage correctly. You think this is going to make people take off Whisper of Rhyme?
Now, when you say not scaling precision damage correctly,
I imagine that when Whisper of Rhyme was on, I imagine when it was on, and if somebody shot you in the head, I think the overshield was not taking precision damage correctly. I think it was if you were at full health, or if you were below full health, you picked up a shard, Whisper of Rhyme gave you health, you'd still take precision damage correctly. But I think it was specifically with the overshield. Overshield, even if somebody shot you in the head and they were getting full damage to them, I think the overshield wasn't scaling it correctly.
I can say I'm glad they're fixing that because like J5 and I, we like using slugs here lately because it's obviously the better pick out of shotguns.
Right.
I have shotgunned somebody that had that overshield active, and it was a white hit and not a crit.
Mm.
And I'm kind of glad they're fixing that because that personally is way too broke.
Right.
I understand the overshield I'm fine with, and I'm fine with shooting somebody in the head with a slug and they not die right away because that's how it should be.
True.
But when you shoot somebody and it's not a massive number and it's like a 40, and it's like your gun never hit the precision, it really sucked.
Yeah.
In my opinion. So I'm glad they're fixing it.
Okay.
But I want them to keep that where you have the overshield and you have that power, it actually working instead of killing it to where it's just a waste. I think they should have it, but the precision should count.
Well, it seems here that the bug is just going to make it so where your precision damage that you see is actually the precision damage you do to that overshield, which I agree is a welcome change.
Yeah.
Anybody else got anything else on that? Or are we good to move on to the next topic?
I'm good.
All right. Middle Tree Sunbreaker. Only time I run this is in Atheon fight. I kind of feel like I want to give it more of a shot in the next season in PvP because I want to see how that hammer is going to work with the melee separated actions. Hey, speaking of that hammer, did you know that they're increasing the time before the hammer explodes after hitting the ground from 6.5 seconds to 10 seconds?
I like that.
Yeah, I think that's a welcome change because sometimes you're stepping into danger to try to collect that hammer.
you have an additional 3.5 seconds to pick that hammer up off the ground, Rusty.
Nice.
Also, that was what we call a segue, and I thought it was beautifully done.
Yes.
Yeah. Also, Rusty, if you were unaware, that little mini hammer, that's going to increase the powerful PvE combatants by approximately 50%.
Hot damn.
It's going to slap.
It's good because I like running middle tree and PvE quite a bit sometimes.
We'll have to see how it does. Like middle tree was something I never touched until I found out that in we were talking about this a few weeks ago. We couldn't remember the name of the activity, and I was the one that remembered the name of the activity, but now I can't. The
Escalation
gambit,
protocol?
No, the 9 thing.
Darn.
Where we would reckoning. Reckoning is what finally led me to use middle tree and finding out that the super was so good for stun locking bosses.
Right.
And I never thought so. But other than that, I've never really utilized the super that much, so I can't speak too intelligently on it. I do think the throwing hammer buff is nice. I don't know in terms of Hunter's throwing knife versus the throwing hammer, juxtaposed to that. Like, I don't know if that's really fair, considering they've got to get a headshot just to get their knife back. Otherwise, once they've thrown it, they've thrown it. Whereas we throw it, it doesn't even matter if it's a miss. We can just go pick it up and get the charge back.
That's true.
Hit, miss.
I would argue the same thing should be available to Hunters.
At least with weighted throwing knife.
Yeah, at least with weighted throwing knife.
It's normal throwing knife is trash. We can all admit it, that one. That thing's just doo-doo.
Now I will say with weighted throwing knife, even though we just proposed that, I will say if you hit a body with the knife, I don't think you should be able to go pick it up.
Once it's used, it's used.
You can hit a body, you can hit a body, you can hit a leg, you can hit nothing with a throwing hammer and still pick it up.
Right, no, but my whole thing is, because the way that the throwing knife works, it can crit. The throwing knife can crit, and that's the whole difference.
That's fair. I don't think a throwing hammer, even if you hit somebody in the head, it would be an instant kill.
Right, and that's why I say if you hit a body shot with the knife, your knife's gone. You can't go pick it up. That's why I say that.
At the same time, it's probably a little bit easier to crit with that hammer than it is with that knife because it's a very precise thing.
Right. Okay. Well,
I guess that makes sense.
Let's move on. We're still within Titans. We're going to Arc. We're not gonna touch my boy yet. My favorite Titan tree yet. We're gonna stay with the top and bottom Striker Titans, the OGs, which have been reworked before. But here, it's the supers that are getting a buff. All 3 of these are buffs. Increased slam detonation radius by 14%. Reduced slam damage fall off. reduce slam attack activation cost from 21% to 18%. Now, I can't tell you the last time I used either of these tree supers, but to me, these sound like some pretty good changes.
I use it. I use bottom tree anytime I run my Titan in PvP. I use bottom tree, and my personal opinion, I don't think bottom tree should get it. I think top tree, because who the hell uses top tree?
Pooh Bear.
People that enjoy using insurmountable skull fort, pretty much, or having 2 grenades to throw.
Well, let me ask this, bro. You say bottom tree shouldn't get it. I just want to know what makes you say this.
Have we all forgotten that for the longest time, bottom tree dominated PvP?
Okay.
I don't think it should get nothing because it finally got tamed.
Okay.
It's still a very awesome super to run. I'm okay. Maybe the radius I could get, but really it does not need any of it really personally, because it's still a very good super. If somebody's not using middle tree behemoth, they're using bottom tree.
Okay, that's fair.
Okay. I would counter that. Hold on, do you have more to your thought? I don't want to cut you off.
Go ahead.
All right, he passes the stick to J5.
I would counter that with saying this. They're not going to change Skullfort, because if they change Skullfort, then they're killing Skullfort. So the problem with this is that since they're going to buff Top Tree, now Top Tree is it's competitive to use against Bottom Tree. And if Bottom Tree did not get bumped up along with Top Tree to keep it ahead of Top Tree as far as super duration and things like that, then Bottom Tree would pretty much be abandoned. So I think that's why they pretty much have to give Bottom Tree that buff. I agree with you. It is way more potent than Top Tree because it's a super refill on every single kill, right?
Between melee.
Okay. With that being said, 2 things. A, this is literally all for like heavy attack stuff with the super. And B, in with J5's argument, there's got to be something else in that skill tree that is making that super more desirable over the top tree. Because correct me if I'm wrong here, but doesn't bottom tree Dawnblade refill super on kills, and top tree doesn't?
Yeah.
Yes.
But yet top tree is still the one that gets used. So there has to be something in that bottom tree skill tree that is synergizing there that just makes it more warranted. And if I'm not mistaken, bottom tree is the one where melee kills give you health back, right?
Yeah, if you combine with
gun damage too, bro.
And gun damage,
Yep.
Yeah.
And see, I guess what my argument to it is, and what I'm trying to say,
you just don't want the bottom tree to get back to where it was.
Yeah, it's a good point itself. Buff top tree where it's an option for more use. Because if you give that buff to bottom tree, top tree is still good to be below it. You're basically buffing at the same time. You're not doing anything different. You're basically making it to where people are going to run one tree selection over the other no matter what.
Right.
The buff would have matched it up. Because, if you match Synthoceps with bottom tree, you're a god in PvP if you know what you're doing.
Right.
I loved it in comp. You were untouchable. I think they should add it to the top tree, leave bottom tree alone, and then you'll have a good synergy between the two.
Okay.
And that's my personal opinion.
I get you. I think their way of thinking is that the separation between top tree and bottom tree right now is enough. With top tree, you have the extra grenade and you have the existence of Skullfort. But you have a much more lackluster super in response to it. Whereas with bottom tree, you have whatever the punch is called, knockout or...
it's knockout.
Knockout, you have that, and frontal assault. Sorry, that's what it is. Frontal assault.
Knockout's the one where you get the increased damage.
Yeah, you have knockout, you have frontal assault, and you have you have a much more longer super, and you have super regen on kill. That's what separates them right now. But if you're increasing damage and usability of top tree, along with 2 grenades and with combination of Stolfort, never-ending shoulder charges, unless you just get put down in the middle of one, it's going to take away a lot of players from bottom tree, I would argue. Of course, your diehards with the Synthoceps, maybe not. But
I got a feeling it's going to get nerfed. It's going to get top tree nerfed because of that, what you just said.
Yeah.
We'll have to see.
Mm-hmm.
All right. With that, let's get on to my favorite striker tree to play. J5's favorite
Same.
version of Toby to see. Kaboom, baby. Middle tree striker, code of the missile. What are they doing to our boy J5? Inertia override, increased duration from 4 to 6 seconds. Sliding over an ammo brick now grants 20% melee energy. Hey, it's that thing that I brought up earlier when we were talking about, you know, whether or not I feel like a lot of these contradict it. So how you feel about inertia override getting that buff, J5?
Now, I'm going to be jumping ahead here to a topic. I don't want to say too much, but I do have to jump ahead simply to
You
reply
have to. You have to.
simply to reply to what Rusty brought up. I can't remember what it was, but you told me to save it. This this change to inertia override is pretty much nothing but a buff for me, even in the face of the change to primary weapon ammo economy.
Yes.
And the reason why is because being a Titan main, my dumb ass doesn't read. And I was always
He really doesn't.
I was always under the impression that inertia override only worked on special and heavy anyway. So I wasn't sliding over primary ammo bricks anyway. So it's no change in my playstyle.
Exactly.
So it's nothing but a win. It's definitely
Yeah.
more of a win on the melee energy without
So
a doubt.
hey J5, I want to bring something to your attention because you don't read. You know that the ballistic slam you like using?
Mhm.
You know what it does, yeah?
It knocks people back and somewhat adds a concussive effect, maybe.
So here's what it does. It knocks
people
people
off.
back. It gives you increased super energy, and it activates inertia override when you hit something with it.
Cool.
Did you know?
Goddamn.
It's a slug.
It's a slug, baby.
J5 inertia override's the new slug.
The new slug. But yeah, what they're raising it to 6 seconds, right?
6 seconds from 4. It
Yeah,
now lasts
that's a
longer
plus.
than Rampage.
To me, the melee energy is definitely the win there.
See, okay, so here's my thing. Like, I feel like this is gonna get somewhat nerfed. I wouldn't be surprised if the next balance update we get, they're gonna be like, hey, inertia override in PvP. Now sliding over an ammo break gives you 10% melee energy. Because, like you said, J5, you only ever really slid over special and heavy.
Yeah.
So this 20% melee energy, when special's gonna be everywhere in Crucible, you slide over 5 bricks, you're back. I run 100 strength on my Titan. I'm probably gonna put together a build where I run more intellect than I do strength, because if I slide over bricks, I get more energy back.
Right.
So, like you said, this is a buff. This is nothing but a buff to me. This changes nothing in my playstyle, except I get to slam down from the air like a dumbass even more. Especially when paired with Doom Marchers.
Nothing but a buff.
Alright, so if we got nothing more on that, it's time to get to Void, and the only thing that was touched in Void was Bubble. Now, I don't know if I think Bubble was hit a little hard here. I'm sure there's, you know, arguments for both sides, but Ward of Dawn, increased damage taken from bosses from 0.25 times at the lowest amount of damage taken to 7 times at the highest amount of damage taken. And the way that works is it's all based off your resilience. You can put this damage scale back down to 0.25 if your resilience stat is at a 10. If your resilience is at a 0, which, man, if somebody's got 0 resilience with the way the armor works now, I need to see that. If anybody can do it, it's going to be Swamp. I get that. Actually, that's not true. Have you seen his Warlock? His Warlock has like 90 resilience. It's like 90 resilience. It's like 80 recovery, and it's 115 discipline. Because the man don't listen.
Overcharged.
But how are we feeling about the Ward of Dawn changes?
I don't run it, so.
Pretty much similar to how I would feel about the Well of Radiance change, which is very similar. I think this is kind of, even though I'm jumping because we're not on Warlocks yet, I think it's unfair to Warlocks, you know, when you consider that theirs is going to be based on resilience too. Whereas resilience, Titans favor resilience because it's tied to our class ability. I mean, I'm at least the type of Titan that builds into resilience first, then recovery, then intellect, and then everything else somewhere in between, somewhere
Right.
behind that. So for me, I'm pretty much always at a constant 9
Right.
resilience, and making it a priority to be 10 is not going to be much of a change for me.
Okay.
So it's pretty much non-existent for me to
Okay.
change. Whereas
That's fair.
warlocks, it's going to hit a lot harder.
That's fair.
We're gonna have to see how these things play out, man. We're gonna have to see how they play out because content, GMs, and all sorts of stuff. It's hard enough right now with our abilities being what they are. So with our abilities being weakened, but there's no discussion of the GMs being turned down just a little bit to adjust for that. We'll have to see.
Let me ask this. Why do you think the bubble caps out at 7 times, whereas the well caps out at 1.5? There's 2 reasons I asked this question. Main reason is the well has a very tiny hitbox to break it, whereas the bubble is the entire fucking thing.
So when you say 7 times versus 1.5, like break that down for me.
Okay, so at 0 resilience on a warlock, the well takes 1.5 damage.
Okay.
At 0 resilience on a Titan, the bubble takes 7 times damage. Why do you think the bubble's getting hit so much harder than the well is?
Probably because they know that more warlocks are going to build into recovery as opposed to resilience. That's the only thing I could say.
Okay.
And in that regard, that's fair. If you're a Titan that runs 30 resilience, more power to you. But I don't understand you.
That's fair. All right. We got anything else on this?
Nope.
A little disappointing that there was nothing done for bottom tree sentinel, and I don't know what you could do to middle tree. With the exception of what's happening with
we'll get to those.
We'll get to that. Yeah,
yep. But hey,
would have been nice if there would have been something.
You brought up exotics, so let's talk Titan exotics.
Okay.
Let's talk precious scars. Would everybody agree that precious scars would be getting a great buff here?
Oh, yeah.
Probably useful.
Probably a GM replacer now.
Possibly.
Yeah.
Possibly.
Will now also, I love that it's also, create a burst of healing and bonus recovery around you whenever you kill an enemy with a weapon whose damage type matches your subclass type. On top of the already functionality it has, when you revive somebody, you have a healing aura around you, and if your enemies or if your teammates are within that healing aura, they're tethered to you and get increased recovery. I'm telling you right now, I'm all about farming these helmets.
Dude, I got a God Roll already, I think.
Let's see how long that aura lasts.
I think it's 30 seconds on the revive.
Damn.
That's crazy.
Yeah, my aura's up. Somebody wipe.
Well, based off what this is saying right now, because when I read this, it says will now also create a burst of healing and bonus recovery around you when you kill an enemy with a weapon type that matches your subclass. To me, reading that, it's saying, say you're running solar and you have an igneous hammer, or you have Vex Mythoclast, which we'll get to why you'd be running that later. You kill something with that, because it doesn't say it gives you a chance. It's instant. It says when you kill an enemy, it'll pop, around you. So I'm wondering if you're gonna pop that aura around you, much like if you revive somebody. Because if that's the case, holy crap, rifts might not really be the play anymore.
It might not.
Yeah. Titan main.
Hold on now. I got a well. Yeah, I could still help you out there. Come on. Don't make me do this. And then of course the other exotic, Icefall Mantles. Remove the slower class ability recharge scaler. I'm gonna be honest, I don't think it's gonna do anything for this exotic. The movement speed.
It's
The
one.
movement speed's the
It's a
problem.
Titan exotic that I still don't have. I never had an interest in getting them.
It's a movement speed problem. It's a what is it? 20 seconds it lasts when you pop it. So you're slowed for 20 seconds, or until the shield breaks. By the way, if you get shot, it resets the timer. So if that shield isn't broken, and you're being shot, you're still stuck at that 20 seconds. That's another problem.
They should have put in a way to like deactivate it as well, like hold
Yeah.
down circle or something. Like
Yeah. Here's what I think they really should have done. This would have been neat. You pop it, the overshield fills up. That overshield drains as the 20 seconds go away. So as people are shooting you, that timer's going down too because your overshield's going down. That I think would have been cool.
Yeah, that would have been pretty cool.
And I mean, I don't really accept the fact that you could argue that the coding for that's going to be weird, because look at how One-Eyed Mask works. When you get that kill, you don't instantly get an overshield. It slowly fills up. So why couldn't you just reverse slowly build down for Icefall Mantles?
They probably could. They probably could, but it's probably not how they want it to work.
Fair. All right. Well, on to Pro's favorite discussion topic now. Hunters. Let's start with Pro's favorite Freezy boy now, the Revenant. Your super's getting a small buff. It's getting that increased movement speed for that Tornadus. And it's getting that that Tornadus will stop on a boss and do damage. Granted,
That's
there's
nice.
that bug that if the boss dies, it won't move.
Yeah.
Guardians count as bosses.
That's
God, I
walls,
hope not.
bro.
So how do you feel? How do you feel about the super stuff, man?
I'm kind of glad to see it's going to be something somewhat useful. PvP is, I think, it's still going to be dead no matter what.
Right.
It's more of a in PvP. When I use it to make Guardians move.
Right.
I want them to, if they're in a little hubby, I'm going to throw it in there. You're going to come out like fucking bees in a beehive.
You want them to snake them out, smoke them
Yeah.
out.
Now, the whole going on a boss thing is awesome because I have thrown it on a boss at the end of a nightfall.
And then it just goes away. It just,
Yeah,
it
you're just
fucks
like,
off.
what? Yeah, and that, I'm glad it's going to be getting fixed. Now, with the Withering Blade, I don't see a point of even doing the tracking projectile speed. I don't see a point. It doesn't do any damage anyway.
Agreed. I think it
That-
should have
that
gone up
is-
from 30 damage to 60 damage.
Because I see absolutely no point
Agreed.
in that one there.
Agreed. Hard
super-
agreed. But to be
I'm
fair with
glad.
that, we do get the separate melee actions now. So it'll be probably less of a problem.
See, they're doing this now, but they're doing something else that's already taken me away from fuck stasis. I don't care anymore. We're gonna get to it here in a second. It's a few slides down, but they're finally doing something with one of my favorite subclasses.
That's fair. All right. Well, if we got nothing else on Revenant, if nobody else has any topics to discuss on it, we'll move on to the next one. Rusty?
Okay, Hunter, go on.
All right. Solar. We will start with the Middle Tree Gunslinger, and it's only one buff. Knife Trick. Increased
25%.
burning duration from 3 to 4 seconds. Ooh.
Wow, we can skip that one.
Hold on now. Well, actually, you know what? No, we will. We will. And there's a reason. Because when we get to the exotics, we're going to come back to it. So now we're going to move on to Top Tree Gunslinger. 6-shooter. Damage fall off now starts at 25 meters instead of 20. How do you feel about that?
I don't really use it, so I mean it's not really a big deal to me. I think they should have made it have more damage, more like resistance than anything, because you can melee a golden gun out. It's about the only super I think you can punch and kill.
No. You could do that with Chaos Reach if you get the chance to, because it also has 0 damage reduction while using its super.
Well, let's be honest though. Like who?
Oh no, I feel you 100% on that. I'm just saying. I'm just pointing out the argument there that hold on, this one also has 0 damage resistance.
I get what you're saying. I get what you're saying.
Let's be 100% honest. Thank God that's the case, because if that thing had any form of damage resistance, that thing would have had to die like 2 years ago with Nova Loop.
Yeah, I don't use it because, like I said, I can walk around the corner. I miss a shot on somebody, they punch me, I'm dead.
Agreed. I think 6-shooter. I don't know. I'll say 6-shooter itself, 25% damage reduction would have saved it entirely. It's not overly oppressive to where you can't take it out from a distance, but at the same time, you can't just walk up and laugh in its face.
Hope you don't miss, bitch.
Yep.
All right. If that's all we got there, Arc Strider. Arc Staff,
Oh,
baby.
my baby.
Arc Staff.
All day.
Extended
day.
passive super duration, 16 to 20 seconds. Hot damn.
You've seen my 130 right now.
Increased heavy slam detonation radius from 5 meters to 6 meters. Good shit, bruv. Increased damage versus PvE combatants by 33%. Hey, by the way, anybody who's watching this before the reset for Season of the Loss, which is probably nobody, Raid and Flux, Zur, Tower, pick it up. 20 recovery, 20 intellect.
Now.
Fucking do it. All right, so Arc Staff, the super. How we feeling?
Dude, I'm hyped. That,
Arc Staff,
like
man.
you seen my hunter. What was the chest piece that I was running?
Oh, I saw what it was.
I loved it because whenever I did carries back in the day to help people get their get the whisper done, that was my main thing. That was my main like chest piece. I would switch some stompies, throw that on, clean one room out, and be almost to the second room before I ran out. I love Arc Strider. It's a solid super. It definitely going to be my pick for next season. That's the reason I said anything they did to Stasis, they done lost me on it.
Right.
They brought my baby back, and that's all I care about.
Well, okay, so you brought up Whisper the Worm, and that just, you know, I have to say this story because I always love telling this story. You know, there was once somebody that I knew that when I came back to the game to play Whisper the Worm, they told me to get off my Warlock, and I told them to go fuck themselves. And I brought my Warlock. Not only to bring my Warlock, I brought Tickle Fingers.
Tickle fingers.
I brought Tickle Fingers into that bitch. And I fucked hard.
And you were how far under-leveled?
I was, dude, I don't even remember. J5, do you remember? Because you were the guy who told me to you know, fuck off with the Warlock.
Event was 380, and I believe you went in at 358.
Yeah. I went in and I fucked hard.
Oh, I love tickle fingers.
All right. So, all right, back to the, you know, Arc Staff. Rusty, this is what you said your baby is too. How you feeling? We got pros feeling on the super. What about you?
That's all I'm gonna rock in PvE, dude.
All right.
GMs I might do smoke, but otherwise it's gonna be Arc Strider all day.
Okay.
If I'm
okay. Well, which tree? Which tree? I'm curious from you too.
Top tree.
Top tree for Rusty.
Got to do that dodge and get the extra whatever the fuck.
Right. Pro.
I personally like bottom tree.
Okay, that's funny. I kind of like that because when I play Arc Strider, I play middle.
What the fuck?
Yeah, I really like playing middle, and that's good. It's good. Rusty, it's good for you for playing top tree because Deadly Reach increased duration from 8 seconds to 10 seconds, baby.
I like bottom tree for combat meditation.
I will not disagree with you on that. J5, do you remember that match you and your boy played on Vostok, where I went 25-1 in year 1?
I remember the match, yes.
Combat meditation, baby.
Yeah.
Banana Nan. Love that shit. But so we brought up, you know, Rusty with the top tree, you know, Deadly Reach. Pro, unfortunately, sir, they're not buffing you in any way, shape, or form. But I don't think that's a problem. I think your bottom tree is actually in a pretty relatively decent state. Would you agree? Okay. Middle tree Arc Strider. They're getting a buff. Lightning Weave. Dealing damage with Tempest Strike now triggers Lightning Weave. Which, in case you're unfamiliar with that, Tempest Strike is the sprint in melee where you jump up in the air and throw that wave of damage out. If you hit an enemy with that currently, nothing happens. You don't trigger Lightning Weave. It's your regular melee that triggers it. Starting next season, that shit'll trigger it too. But hey,
hold up. Even if you kill him, like.
Yeah, even if you kill him, doesn't trigger it.
Damn.
You don't have to kill. It's dealing damage. Here's the thing though, Rusty. That's not the only buff Lightning Weave is getting. The timer can now be extended by dealing damage with any weapon. By the way, do you guys know what Lightning Weave does?
I'm going to recall my decision to go.
Do you guys know what Lightning Weave does?
I am uninformed.
Reload speed and
Increased
something else.
reload speed. So guess what? You triggered Lightning Weave. All you got to do to keep that reload speed is just keep shooting motherfuckers. You keep shooting things, you get reload speed. think about this. We go into a raid that requires us to, like, you know, continuously do damage to something. You melee something or you hit something with Tempest Strike, you proc Lightning Weave. You start shooting the boss, you have that increased reload because you just keep shooting the boss. That's insane.
It is pretty ridiculous. I never knew that. So is that a change that's new? Like keeping the buff? Is that?
Yeah, that's new.
Okay.
Because it was melees. Melees was how you would trigger it and I guess keep it going. Now Tempest Strike can activate it and shooting. It's dealing damage with any other weapon. Any weapon. Heavy, kinetic, energy, any weapon. It's nuts.
It's just reload speed? Anything else?
Just reload speed.
Okay.
From the last I looked, it was just reload speed. Okay.
Gotcha.
So one more subclass to touch on hunters. Void. Nothing for top tree, nothing for bottom tree. How you guys feel about that?
I mean,
Don't really need it.
yeah, top tree. The only thing that was ever good for was with Orpheus rigs, but they done killed Orpheus rigs, so it's almost a pointless super to use.
Right.
Bottom tree is more of a massive ad clear, and that's all it's really good for. But other than that, they're both trash.
Okay. Middle tree. Yeah, it's a fairly good class, right? Before Revenant came out, Middle Tree was my go-to. Middle Tree Void, sorry, was my go-to PvP build because I enjoyed playing Blade Dancer in D1, and Spectral Blades was the closest I could get to it. Granted, I didn't take full use of the subclass because I'm not very coherent when it comes to crouching and, you know, getting headshots and stuff to proc invisibility stuff.
There.
But, you know, I enjoyed the super. That was my thing. I enjoyed that feel, which was more than enough for me to play it. Now, Spectral Blade. It's getting touched. It's getting nerfed. Reduce the damage reduction during super from 52% to 47%.
No point.
Reduced additional damage reduction from when you're invisible from 5% to 3%. Now, I've got a personal issue with this. I'd almost argue that when you're invisible in that super, you shouldn't have additional damage resistance. Because you're stealthy. You're already... Unless somebody's specifically looking for you, you're invisible. Like, why do you get to avoid more damage? How do you guys feel about that?
I personally don't. Like, don't get me wrong. I mean, I get what you're saying there, and I agree with you. But the biggest problem with you being invisible, you have smoke trailing behind you. Or some kind of aura, I guess you can say. Not technically smoke. Makes you very visible to a point. So
Right.
I think there should be something there, considering hunters have some of the weakest health when it comes to supers. I personally, Spectral Blades, I like using it to get away or for the flawless execution.
Right.
But personally, I've smacked so many people on the ass and gave them a speed boost instead of killing them. It doesn't matter. The super is pretty well trash when it comes to killing.
Okay. Rusty, any takes on it?
Not really.
Okay. J5, anything?
I'm sorry, I got lost there for a second. Where are we at?
We're at Spectral Blades. We're talking about the damage reduction from the super from 52 to 47 and 5 to 3 while invisible. And I also brought up the fact that...
So you're saying they're going to be taking less damage?
Yes.
Okay. The only thing I can say about Spectral Blades is what I've said before. I think there should be more of a penalty to their constant R1 spamming, or I at least think that their R1 spamming, the speed of it should be reduced. Because they can just fly across the map spamming that.
I have an argument against that. How often do you use it to even experience it? Because you do lose super...
I don't think it's him using it to experience it that's the issue. I think it's the amount of times he's been killed by a Spectral Blade that's just spamming R1 to get to him. I think that's where his experience comes from.
I can get that. Yeah. I can understand that, but the only problem is with that R1 spam is, like I said, I've smacked people head on and behind, and they are able to get a speed boost and run away. I'm more or less helping them get away from me.
That's fair.
Yeah, sometimes it is kind of, the hitbox on it's kind of funky. I've noticed that too.
Yeah.
Your up swipe, yeah, you're gonna kill somebody one shot guaranteed, but that just takes so much super away.
All right. Well, let's move on to Hunter exotics. let's start with the new hotness going to be next season. Bombardiers. The bomb now has a secondary effect based on your subclass type. You blind for arc, you burn for solar, you slow for stasis, you suppress for void, and there's a note here: suppression will not affect a guardian in a super. So let's take it from the top. Let's go from blinding with arc. You guys gonna rock this at all?
If I can
arc?
get a good pair, yeah.
For arc?
I'll try it. Yeah.
Okay.
Maybe.
That's the thing. Like we're gonna take it from the top. You know, we're gonna go arc and solar, stasis, and void. So I don't see myself using it for arc. I'm probably Raiden Flux, and if I'm not using Raiden Flux, probably Shinobu's Vow. That's
It'll be a
typically where I
PvP
stand.
exotic for me if I do use it.
That's fair. Also have to keep in mind it's going to do like 120 damage with that nade if you get it right on top of somebody, which that'll come into effect when we get to the stasis part, as well as the solar part here, because I told you we'd come back and talk about the middle tree, the blade barrage buff, the knife trick, the fire burning damage going from 3 seconds to 4 seconds. If this works with that, that could maybe help out a little bit with that subclass. What do you guys think?
Yeah.
I think it's dead on a top tree or bottom tree gunslinger, but I think on a middle tree it has a place.
No good chance.
Okay. Slow for stasis. So if this grenade still does the 120 and then applies slow, it's going to be interesting, because something I'm thinking about, and I mentioned this to Rusty during the week, you run the hunter aspect where you dodge to slow an enemy. If you dodge towards an enemy, slow them, and that grenade hits, explodes, slows them, depending on the amount of stacks of slow that puts on, because I think dodging is 4, I'm imagining the grenade would be 4, a withering blade would freeze them, that'd be 3, but also they'd already be weak, they'd be low health, I imagine, if they, you know, the 120 damage puts them in lethal range. Wouldn't you agree?
Yeah.
It'd probably see the fastest rework to any exotic, to be honest with you.
If it works that way.
Yeah, because that would definitely be a little broke.
I don't see it doing any more than 4 stacks of slow, or 40, since that's been the change recently.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Now,
Magic number for hunters.
suppress for void. Now, it doesn't work on a super. First thoughts, how do you feel about that?
I think it should.
This is the.
Oh,
this is the first
hell
time
no, bro. That'd be broke as fuck.
Yes!
This is the first.
Argument time, let's get to it.
This is the first time that I do have an argument.
Okay,
About this.
let's let Pro go first. Let's Pro go first. He's already staked his claim. He says this is suppress a super. Please tell us.
I mean,
Every 11 seconds, homie?
Rusty, stop. He has the stick.
Alright.
He has the stick. Let him get his words in.
I can get where it can be broke. I understand it can be broke, but I think to a point it should do something towards the super. Because, I mean, you're already going to be facing the suppressant every time somebody dodges anyway. And right now in the state of the game where supers are the win situation of any hardcore PvP content, and I'm not trying to attack Titans here because I think Titans should have a suppressive grenade, but their melee can also suppress you. So there's 2 sources for suppressing with a Titan, but a lot of people do not run it. But I can get where it can be broke. But I still think we should have it.
Okay. Let me jump in next.
opinion.
When you're done, pass me the stick.
Stick is yours.
Okay. So, in regards to the Titan parts, the suppressions are tied to grenade and to melee. So strength and discipline each. So I believe the fastest you can get either of them back is just around 30 seconds apiece. Whereas the dodge at 100 mobility is 11 seconds. On top of that, to do the melee with the Titan, they have to sprint to activate it first. So there's also that. Now, I imagine when they say the suppression will not affect a Guardian and Super, if the suppression means it won't take them out of their Super, but it will still, slow them down, make them not be able to double jump, make them not throw a grenade if they're a roaming Super that can throw a grenade, I'm okay with this. If that's literally all it does is not take them out of their Super, but they still have all the other effects, fine. I'm all for it. Not like I'm all for it not, doing that. But if it literally does nothing to them, if they still have all of their movement stuff, they could still throw a grenade, all of that shit, that's a problem. Rusty, the stick is yours.
I 100% agree with that. Like, it better to at least do like what the Titan grenade does, minus the whole super thing. And like, if they wanted it to actually do super suppression, like put it on a longer cooldown just for that specific one. Like,
Ooh, like if you put the
make it
exotic
like,
on, it has an increased cooldown on your dodge.
yeah.
Ooh.
Exactly.
That'd be
Just like
something.
the helmet.
I'd be all
for,
for it. Yeah, that'd be
what's
fair.
the name
I
of it?
mean,
Legend of the helmet
backwards.
yeah, it decreases
backwards.
your charge time.
Yeah, I mean, something like that. Like, I would see that's fair.
Ooh, like a 10-second penalty after you dodge.
Yeah, so like
There you
for
go,
28
there you go.
seconds.
Because that's what Backrus does. Backrus is there's a 10-second penalty to where your dodge doesn't start building back. Okay, I'm down for that.
Because I think you should be rewarded for taking that suicidal attempt, trying to place a super with a dodge.
Dodge next to a super. Goddamn, that would
All
be
right,
fucking.
all right. Let's pass the stick to J5. He has an argument.
Not necessarily more of an argument because I mean most of what I was gonna say has been said.
All right, steal the stick from J5. He's done here.
No, I'm not. I will agree and disagree with things that have been said. With what Pro said, I agree and I disagree. I think 100% that Bombardier should be able to take a super out, take a Guardian out of super. And the reason for it is that Titans have the suppressor grenade, they have the suppressor melee. Now, that's the only reason I agree with that. In reality, nothing should be able to put down a super except for a Guardian who can well position himself to outplay a super with, be it heavy or special, a combination of Guardians or another super.
Okay.
Any character's grenade should not be able to do, well, not any characters, but in this case a Titan, a grenade or a melee should not be able to stop a super.
I can agree.
So therefore I would agree that Bombardier shouldn't be able to either, but they're not going to do anything about the suppressor grenade on the Titan. I've said many times before, even as a Titan main, that Titan should not have that grenade. That to me is bullshit. It's bullshit. You have you have varying supers in this game. Some that make you feel like that you're using the right thing, some that make you feel like you're using the wrong thing, and I don't think that's a good feeling.
Okay.
There's people that want to be top tree Arch Strider. There's people that want to be middle tree Solar
Okay.
on a Titan. And there are some supers that are somewhat easily counterable. There's some that require a little bit more skill, and there are some that you just feel like you pretty much have to resign your death to.
Right.
So in that scenario, I would say that it definitely should be able to take a Guardian out of the super. And if it can't, then they need to remove the suppressor grenade from the Titan and the melee from the Titan. Now, in the argument for it being a dodge versus a melee that a Titan has to charge up, and what a melee recharge is for a Titan versus the dodge for the Hunter, I would say Rusty's 10-second idea is fair in that regard.
Oh yeah, I can fully agree on that.
I think in a scenario of suppression and only suppression, I think there should be an immediate added delay onto being able to dodge again, regardless of how much mobility you're running. There should be an added stack of weight,
Can
so you
I
cannot
get
do
this
that
stick back
again.
in a second?
Yeah, I'm done.
I can also agree 10 seconds being added to another subclass dodge, because you can only imagine people constantly dodging, doing 120 damage, slowing you, and shotgunning you will be a massive problem. Because they're not going to be able to slide. They're not going to be able to slide towards you anymore. So I can freeze you, 120 you, and then map you with the shittiest shotgun in the world and get a kill.
Right.
I think 10 seconds should be added to Bombardiers altogether.
Okay.
That makes sense, because either way you look at it, if you can suppress a super, for say you could, or you can slow a super and possibly make them one shot, you should have a big penalty against it. It's like Backrus, you're able to dodge out of a scenario, you gotta wait 10 more seconds.
I'm thinking about this, and going back to the burn for solar, I also forgot that the way that middle tree subclass works is playing with fire gives you your dodge back faster too.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't think about that at first. So yeah, I'm starting to think that 10-second idea is really fucking good for not just the void but for the solar as well. Isn't there
You know it.
a tree? Is it bottom tree for arc striders that while you're running your dodge builds back faster?
Mhm.
God, this is
Yeah.
dumb. I'm
Damn.
pointing out all the fun. Yeah, this 10-second thing needs to happen.
It'll get.
It's across
I
the
guarantee
board.
you,
Yeah.
it will see the fastest rework.
Yeah,
Like
I
new
could see
season.
that. I didn't think about all that up until we start talking. See, this is why I wanted to do this, because you know we start bouncing ideas around, and then all of this shit starts clicking. This is a good idea. I like this. All right, we good on bombardiers, boys?
Yeah.
All right, let's get to graviton forfeit. How often does anybody use this thing?
Never. I
Hell,
use
I
it
had
in
to
year
look
one.
up what it does.
Year one, baby. That's D1, man.
Oh man. All right, graviton forfeit. Increase the bonus invisibility duration. The melee regeneration speed now increased based on the number of enemies near you. And while you're invisible, your recovery is greatly increased, and your weapons reload more quickly. Is this gonna make you use it at all?
Personally, if I have a choice, I'm going to still use the legs. Because a lot of people are radar players, and you take their radar away.
Oh, you're talking to Gemini Jesters.
Yeah, I'm still going to pick those over. Granted, yeah, the recovery is going to be nice, being invisible a little bit longer. But like I said, I'm a radar watcher. Like I'm watching that radar religiously. You take that away from me, you're going to
I'm
win the fight
fucked.
almost every time.
Yeah, yeah.
Same. Yeah.
I'm still going to use Gemini's over forfeit myself.
I think Rusty and I are probably gonna be in the same position on this. If I'm gonna be playing with invisibility options, it's gonna be Omni Oculus.
Yeah, 100%.
And
That's
you
a lot
guys
better
know,
selection.
how I play. I like playing even in PvP. There's a way I can play a supportive play style to buff my teammates. I'm gonna do it. You guys see me run Omni Oculus in PvP. I'll fucking do it. J5, I'm gonna assume since you had to look up what this exotic did, this does nothing for you.
Not really, unless like hunter invisibility, play styles become a staple in PvE. Probably
Right.
not.
Okay.
I'm curious to see how much your melee recharges though when you're surrounded by enemies.
You know what they're gonna be the best place to test that out?
Throw away.
Throw away. If you go invisible and you don't instantly have a melee back, there's gonna be a problem.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Last exotic to touch for the hunters. Lucky Pants. J5, you know what this one does, yeah? Currently, you know what it does currently?
From my experience, it's pretty much it does for hand cannons what Peacekeepers does for SMGs on the Titan.
Sort
It
of.
pretty much is OG quick draw, right?
Sort of. What it does right now is if you get a critical shot, while a hand cannon is stowed, it adds 1 to that hand cannon that's stowed. It's real weird. But yes, it does have the quick draw effect, which it is keeping. Bungie has said it's going to keep that quick draw effect. It's also going to have an intrinsic hand cannon holster mod, which we'll get into those later. And it's replacing its current functionality with when you ready a fully loaded hand cannon that deals kinetic damage or damage matching your subclass energy type. For a short time, each hit against a combatant from that hand cannon increases the damage of the next shot. Note, no, Hawkmoon won't be able to one-shot a raid boss using these legs. Other hand cannons will get a fun edge in combat though. And so the thing here is Bungie's also come out and said this will not work in PvP. They've already confirmed
Oh, you know that.
which is fine, and I'm okay with that.
I mean, that would essentially resurrect double tapping with 1 stack of Rampage
Right.
on 120s.
Right. The PvP usage now is you get the intrinsic holster mod, you get the quote unquote quick draw effect, and I think that's really the only thing that's good for Lucky Pants on in PvP. But if you got any other thoughts, bro, go for them.
PvE, and hear me out. It is a hand cannon.
Mm-hmm.
Ariana's Vow. Do you think it will do anything to it?
As long as you're rocking solar. Now the holster mod's not going to work with the Vow because the Vow's got auto loading, which we'll get to that when we get to all those mods. But I mean, in theory, that should work. It is a hand cannon, so we'll have to see how that plays out. be things to
But
test.
to be honest with you, the odds of me like in PVE, I'm gonna be running my chest piece or something of the sort. You know, I'm gonna either be throwing a lot of skip grenades or I'm gonna have a chest piece on.
Right.
So me switching to Lucky Pants, I'm more of an SMG auto rifle user in PvE anyway. So that's a dead exotic to me.
Well, let me bring up something to you for this exotic. If I'm running arc, I'm probably gonna run the chest piece. If I'm running void, I'm gonna be running Omnioculus. If I'm running solar, odds are I'm playing Blade Barrage, and I'm either rocking Six Coyote or I'm rocking Shards of Galanor. I'm rocking Stasis in PvE with Stasis I'm gonna say kinetic because that's the slot it's gonna be in. Stasis kinetic weapons coming out. Give me a Stasis kinetic hand cannon. I'm gonna at least give it a shot. I want to see what it does.
Well, I could definitely say I'll experiment, but I'll
Yeah.
always go back to my tried and true exotics,
Right.
like all of us do. I mean,
Right.
yeah, we might try something new out, but to be honest with you, J5's gonna go back to Dune Marchers. I'm just saying for instance. I'm not saying he's going to, but he likes his Dune Marches. He likes his what the hell they're called, Rampart, the one that makes you float more.
Right.
I use Lion Rampants and I use Dune Marchers.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's pretty much all I use.
So say something gets buffed with a certain exotic leg, he's going to try it, but most likely we're going to go back to tried and true. But we know it works,
Right.
and that's just my opinion on it.
Okay. Well, do we have anything else we want to touch on Lucky Pants?
I'm good.
All right. Warlock time, Rusty. Now, I know in the quote-unquote script I've got Shadebinder down lower, but we're going to start with that one because that's the first one in the TWAB. Winter's Wrath, the super. It's getting a nerf in PvP. I put probably good on there because, you know, I'm biased to it a little bit. It's, you know, the Shatter Pulse damage versus close range supers, which are Burning Maul, which is middle tree Solar Titans, Fist of Havocs, top and bottom, Sentinel Shield, top and bottom, Void, Nova Warp, middle tree Void for Warlock, Arc Staff, I imagine all three of the trees, and Spectral Blades being the middle tree Void for Hunters. You have to freeze and shatter twice. So you have to hit the R2, then the R1, then the R2 again, then the R1.
I'm okay with that.
Glacial Quake is the only one that still requires one shatter to defeat. I don't know if I agree with that because I feel like out of all the ones listed here, that's one of the ones I'm least worried about using my super against. I feel like that one probably should have also been in there for the two, but I guess you can make the argument for Whisper of Rhyme in there, but I don't know. So how does everybody feel about the shatter and freeze twice on these?
I think it should have been done in the first place.
Okay. I'm sure J5 is gonna
Because,
have a small complaint with the arc ones, but we'll get to him after you're done.
you know, because I think if you're able to freeze somebody who's not in a super and one shot them, that's reasonable. But to do it in the same thing as in another super versus you, I think you should have to do more damage, do more freezing, R1 more, R2 more, because it's supposed to be your powerful form. It's like you're going from being regular Goku to Super Saiyan,
Okay.
and then some dude just walks up and flicks you, and either form you die.
Right.
So I think it should have been done in the first place.
Okay. J5.
I apologize. I lost track of where we are because I restarted my phone. Quick refresher. Where are we at?
Winter's Wrath. We're talking about the shatter freeze for all the supers and or at least all the melee ones. My stance was hold on real quick. My stance was Glacial Quake should have been included with the double because I don't really feel the need to pop once on a Glacial Quake. And I feel like you might have a complaint with the middle tree arc not being in this list.
I do have a complaint with Middle Tree Arc not being in it. I mean, I think solar subclasses should, you know, pretty much inherently have a better ability to break out of ice. You know, inherently. But I think it's kind of silly that Glacial Quake is not one that requires two, because you would think another stasis subclass would have an inherent, you know, resistance to freeze.
Agreed.
So it really makes no sense a Glacial Quake Titan, unless that not Revenant, that Shademinder Warlock is really low to the ground,
Mhm.
the Glacial Quake really doesn't have a chance.
Right.
So I think it should have just been a flat adjustment to all supers that they shouldn't
I think the reason they
be
didn't
able
do
to do.
that was golden guns being able to get the kill on them before they could shatter the second time, because they're both ranged supers. B, nova bombs, you freeze somebody as they're trying to cast a nova bomb, then they break out and then they cast the nova bomb. It's kind of pointless at that point. I get all the melee supers, the roaming supers. I get that. That's fine. Like that they should, as Pro said, I would probably be less pissed off about this, and I say pissed off, but I'm not really pissed off. I'd probably be less annoyed with this if it was this way from the start. I probably wouldn't have spent so much time playing Shadebinder.
Yeah, and I think it should have been that way from the start. I think that was definitely a design flaw with the super. It just adds to the overall just the inherent aggravation of playing against stasis and being frozen.
Right.
And even though as much as I can't stand shatter diving hunters, I would argue that the warlocks is probably the worst because you are trapped by tracking ice flare bolts that freeze you, and you just sit there and wait to die, and all the warlock has to do to kill you is just raise his staff in the air. It's very aggravating. Not fun to play against. So I think the double freeze for a kill in a super is necessary, and it really was necessary for all supers.
Okay.
I mean, that's where I stand on it. But
Okay.
especially a one bam thank you ma'am like Thunderstrike for a middle tree striker.
Okay.
But it is what it is. It is what it is.
All right. We're gonna hand it to Rusty here, and then Rusty, when you're done, I do have
Mm-hmm.
one other thing I want to bring up with this, and so I'll let you take the floor first, and then I'll bring up my concept afterwards.
Somebody in regards to Shadebinder.
Yeah.
I mean, I haven't really used it much in PvPs. It doesn't really affect me that much. I mean, I know it sucks being on the other end of it. So
Right. So how
it's
are
a
you gonna
welcome
feel
change.
now that being on the other end has this change?
Oh yeah, for sure.
Okay.
They're great.
All right.
Of course,
So
a lot of my supers are one bangs. I mean,
right. All right. So here's my concept to this now. With this change, I'm never gonna use this super to try and kill somebody else in a super. You know what I'm gonna use this super for? It's gonna be if any of these supers come rushing me or my teammates, I'm gonna freeze them. I'm gonna let my teammates do damage. The moment he breaks out, he's frozen again, and my teammates are gonna. I'm not gonna shatter. I'm just gonna let everybody else do all the damage. I'm just gonna freeze. I'm gonna make it that obnoxious. If people thought being frozen was annoying before, the fact that my super now has to freeze and shatter twice, this is gonna be 10 times worse.
you can get frozen more times than
You're gonna
than you
get frozen
see.
more times and just shot at by people as I constantly freeze you. Because that's the way I feel like it should be used now. It's once again, you've now turned stasis into not only a defense class, now I have the super as a support. That's insane to me. I can now use this to support my teammates. That's ridiculous. All right, let's move on to solar. With the big changes here. Top tree Dawn Blade. Start with the melee. Celestial Fire. Reduce the tracking cone angle. The arming shape, which they have listed here as the proximity detonation, now shrinks over time. The detonation size is reduced by 1 meter, and the damage fall off increased at short distances. Now, I think out of the 4 of us here, Pro, you've probably fought against this more than you've used it. I exclusively don't use this. J5, I think you use this more than me, and Rusty, I don't know if you use it more than J5.
I'm probably right behind J5 in the use department on it.
Okay. How do you
As
feel about
far
the
as
Celestial
what
Fire
top
stuff? The top tree Dawn,
the
yeah.
celesti-
So we're starting with the melee. How do you feel about the changes to it?
melee change is justified.
Okay.
Absolutely
Pro?
justified.
Come back to me in a minute. I'm eating.
Okay. All right. Rusty, melee changes. How do you feel?
Eh.
Okay.
Yeah, it could use it. It needed a nerf. Damage is still the same though, right? Like if someone's in your face, you'll probably still
So
do the same amount of damage.
the damage says it says the damage fall off is increased at a short distance. I don't know what the hell that means. I'm gonna be honest. this stuff here, other than the tracking cone angle, that's probably the only, well, that and the reduced detonation size by 1 meter. That's probably the only thing that I understand out of this. The rest of it goes over my head, if I'm being 100% honest.
A lot of times I use it when I shotgun melee and I fucking just hit him with point blank with the shit. So
Do you do it with a jump, like a short hop?
nah, just like straight up like
You should,
shotgun melee.
because the short hop, if you get the kill while you're in the air, you get a quarter of your melee back.
Oh hell.
Yeah. Bro, melees, are you done eating, or you want us to move on and we can come back for you to talk about everything?
Oh, I'm good now.
Okay. So, Celestial Fire melees, how you feeling about it?
I'm glad it's getting a slight nerf to it, because what I used, I mean, whenever I played Warlock, I used it. I'm not gonna lie, I was a douchebag with it. If you were hiding behind cover, I would slam the ground next to you with it to make you come out, and you're already hurt from the splash damage from it. So I'm kind of glad it's getting this, because it is very annoying to face, because they don't even have to hit you. They can hit the ground at a corner next to you, and you take damage from it. Well, you're going to run out of that cover, and then they're going to pick you off. So I'm glad it's getting something. They did some rework to it for sure.
Okay. Well, let's talk about the next topic here. Icarus Dash now provides 1 air dodge every 4 seconds, as opposed to the 2 we get now, which can stack, and you have to wait the 4 seconds after you use the second one. While under the effects of heat rises, which they got some changes too, we'll get to that after this, increase 2 dodges every 5 seconds. Let's start in descending order. We'll start with J5, then go to Rusty, then Pro, then myself. J5, you first.
That really depends upon what type of top tree Dawn player you were. For me, I would completely throw heat rises to the wayside in favor of that second dodge.
Okay.
There's so much utility to that second dodge, but I mean, if you're coming up against a player that knows how to play top tree Dawn and knows how to utilize it properly, it's very aggravating.
Okay.
So I understand it, but not a fan though.
All right, Rusty.
It's gonna be better to play against. So I'm kind of glad. I never really hardly use it, so it's good for me.
Okay. Pro.
I can agree with Rusty. I used it, but it was mainly used to get to the center of the map a lot faster. I used it as a dodge, but the way aim assist works in this game, it doesn't matter. You hit somebody to tell whether they're dodging, it's called a headshot. So, my biggest concern is the next topic.
Okay. With Icarus Dash, for me, only time I've used this thing, there's 2 instances. What's the name of that encounter inside of Deep Stone Crypt? Third one, the one where we run around and do stuff.
The mines and shit. We got this.
Yeah. The balls that got to be deposited in the receptacles.
Yeah.
I used it there, and whenever we do private matches and we're like, hey, no supers, I go to that for Icarus Dash with transversive steps. That's literally it. Other than that, I don't use it. I don't care for it. It's just not a play style I'm fond of. And with that, let's move on to heat rises. Increase duration from 10 to 15 seconds. Increase the time extension awarded for air kills while heat rises is active. The duration differs based on the type of enemy killed, and your location now appears on enemy radar while using heat rises. Once again, descending order. J5, you're first.
Well, I didn't know your location didn't appear on radar when you were using it, so that's interesting.
Well,
that.
I think what that means is when you pop it, it's gonna ping radars.
Yeah.
I think just you popping it, if you're like off radar just enough, it might ping you. Or if you're like invisible, I don't know. We'll have to see. A lot of people think it might be like a red dot on the radar to signify that somebody's in heat rises. Anyways, keep going.
I think if you are have an adventurous playstyle, like a Cammy, it's definitely an improvement. And I say that as I'm in the middle of a control match and I just got sniped by a top tree Dawn using heat rises. Pretty funny. There we go. I killed him. And I bagged him.
Jesus.
Yeah, I think it's definitely going to benefit those players more. I think you may see more top tree Dawn sniping. with Heat Rises now. You might not. Yeah, we're gonna have to play with it to see what happens.
Okay.
But if it does prove extremely beneficial for top tree non-players with scout rifles, with Jotun, with sniper rifles, yeah, that could be a problem.
Okay. Rusty?
Man, not to mention with Wings of Sacred Dawn.
Oh my god.
Yeah, you can be floaty. But I know it's going to help me get across the vaulted glass jumping puzzle faster.
Oh shit.
Not to mention if we do Deep Stone Crypt, the little space area.
Yeah.
I mean, other than that, dude, I can't do nothing with Heat Rises in PvP, so I'll be a
Right.
Stormcaller main.
Okay. All right then, Pro.
I already don't like it. I don't like Heat Riders in it at all. Don't get me wrong, I use it to float outside the map to snipe people. That being said, I have been sniped by it from people who know what the fuck they're doing.
Right.
And I love whenever somebody does it and pops a sidearm, because like J5, I say some words that should not be mentioned in this podcast. Whenever it happens, because it is very annoying that when that guy is above your head and you can't do nothing but listen to tap, 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 tap. I think it's going to be more of a problem if they're going to be allowed to use it longer. Because somebody like Cammy, somebody, like Gigs and all that, they float outside, they snipe, and they keep it going. They'll keep it trucking. It's going to be a problem.
Okay.
Like I said, Icarus Dash, I'd never really seen it used too much besides like avoiding a sniper. But that Heat Rising is going to be a pain to deal with, especially with Jotun shooting 10 times faster now.
Right.
But that's all I got to
Increase
say.
like how much of it you get back on kills as well.
So that's gonna be part of my pain points here. My pain points with Heat Rise's adjustments: 10 to 15 seconds. That's 5 extra seconds somebody can float in the air and just hide off map. Increased time extension awarded for air kills while Heat Rises is active. You've already increased the timer. Why are you giving them bonus extension as well to the amount? To me, that just means they get to earn their abilities back quicker with all this. And yes, the extension differs based on the enemy killed, but if you're just overall buffing the extension, that's ridiculous to me. Now I think the only thing that saves it is the location that appears on enemy radar, but we'll have to see how that actually looks. Also, keep in mind I don't play this class, so none of this bothers, or none of this really affects me in a negative way. Other than
jumping in for a quick note on that, I personally think, and I've said it before, I think the radar system needs to be retuned. I think when a warlock is above you, and I mean not just a warlock, but any character is above you, I don't think we need a faded version of the typical red
Different color,
caution. We want a different color. I want blue. I want yellow. I want something that tells me that somebody's in the air, not just a very slightly faded version of the same color that the radar is all the time anyway.
You want blue?
I want blue. I want yellow.
I'll take magenta. Fuck it.
Nah, magenta's too close to red, son. It's too close.
My joke went
Beggars
over,
can't be choosers, bro.
My joke went over both your heads.
No, I got the joke.
Okay, you got the joke. Okay, Rusty didn't get the joke.
You did. I have no idea what yellow is.
You want blue? I'll give you yellow. Becky, let me smash. Okay, anyways, moving on.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Middle Tree Dawnblade. This is my bread and butter. I play this shit in Crucible. These fuckers have seen me drop a well sword on top of a homie just to kill him.
Yep.
Well of Radiance. Increased damage taken from bosses from 0.25, which is where it's currently at, to 1.5 times damage at 0 resilience. Damage taken can scale down to 0.25 based on the owner's resilience stat. Note this refers to the Well of Radiance itself and not the players inside the well. So, first thing right off the bat, why the hell is this based off resilience?
It shouldn't be.
It should be recovery. For Warlock.
Yeah.
Titans in their bubble with resilience also get their barricade. Warlocks with resilience, nothing.
Yep.
it should be recovery. And
I think that's why you have the discrepancies
and
between,
if the argument is to be made that, well, it's 0.25 to 1.5, fuck it, make that 1.57 and make it recovery.
I 100% agree with that.
That'd be perfect.
So that's the PvE stuff. Let's move on to the PvP stuff. Increased damage resistance buff versus enemy players from 20 to 40%. How do you guys feel about that?
That's cool.
I mean, it's not really. You're about the only person I've ever seen use it.
Yeah.
So
it just means, I imagine that means somebody's not going to be able to one-shot headshot somebody standing inside of a well with an aggressive frame sniper if that person is rocking 6 resilience or higher. That's what I'd like to interpret from that. How do you feel, Rusty? You think that's an accurate thing to say?
Yeah. I think even if you have it, you're still getting one-shot headshot from aggressive, man.
With or without Vorpal or high impact?
Yeah, you do like 400 damage headshot with the with no extra buffs.
What you talking about? A well over shield on top of a damage resistance buff? You get what I'm saying?
I get what you're saying, but I mean you need 100% damage reduction total.
So you're saying a headshot right now does about 400 damage from an aggressive, right?
Yeah.
So at we'll go with six resilience. 6 resilience, you're at I think it's roughly 190, 192. I think it's 192. You get 192 health. Inside of a well, I think the well gives you 100 damage overshield, so you're sitting at 292. You think with that and a 40% damage reduction, you still think you get one tap headshot by aggressive frame?
Yeah, I think 40 reduction, like.
So that's gonna take.
Yeah, I think so.
It's gonna take the 400 down to roughly a 260. If I'm not mistaken. I think you'll survive.
50% beat.
Because you're looking at 292 inside of a well. If you're a 6 resilience.
Is it 100 for sure that the well gives you? Like,
most overshields are 100 in the game. I mean, there's gonna be tests done and stuff like that.
I'll tell you what, if you got the stag on, you'll definitely survive.
That's true. That's true. Which we'll get to that once we get through the void subclass. Players inside Well of Radiance are now immune to stasis, freeze, and slow. Let me hear it, boys. Let me hear it.
Oh yeah.
Yeehaw.
Fuck them hunters.
Now here's the downside. The well sword can now be frozen and shattered by stasis.
We'll stand in front of it. We'll build a wall.
If this thing, I'm telling you right now, if this thing can be frozen and shattered once, that's a problem.
Like in one warlock melee, psh, boom, done.
Not even just that. Think about this. Shatter dive.
Yeah, that's a big one.
If they can
that's
shatter
already a problem when you got a well.
If they could shatter dive the well sword, that's a problem.
Oh.
It's gonna take a serious player to be able to pull that off, though. Because let's be honest, you got 4 motherfuckers sitting in the well, and you see a hunter coming towards you. He's gonna be You're gonna see a Titan coming towards you and a hunter. You're gonna be shooting that hunter before he can get that close.
Okay, here's another thing.
You know what he's gonna do.
Here's another thing.
Depends on how sneaky he is.
If he throws his super, he may not be able to freeze us standing in it, but that silence is gonna freeze the well sword, and then Squall is gonna do continuous damage to it because it's just gonna be rotating around us doing damage.
Get Titans in there and we'll barricade the sword.
I can't tell you how many times I've been shatter dived inside of a well, dude.
Oh, dude, I can't tell you how many times I've popped my Warlock super as a stasis Warlock and frozen people in a well just to murder them. So I know how great this feeling is going to be when I pop a well and I know I can't be frozen. Because I've done the freezing to other people. I know how bad it is.
If they freeze the well, does that like negate the well keeping you from being frozen?
No, I think the well stuff will still work. I think it's just you could freeze it to shatter it. It gives you another alternative to taking out the well. Because right now you can just snipe it. You can snipe the well sword.
What if they like freeze the well, then it automatically freezes everybody inside the well?
Then we got some problems.
Bro, fuck that.
We got some problems.
Ooh.
All right. So outside of that, the
Awful.
last thing to the middle tree is the guiding flame, the melee, the increased duration from 7 seconds to 10 seconds. So I'm imagining that duration is probably the empowerment buff it gives your teammates that are standing near you. If it's not that, it's the burning damage, which I don't think the burning damage lasts 7 seconds right now anyway, so I'm assuming it's the buff that you get. Also, the damage buff has been increased from 20% to 25%. How you guys feeling about this?
Let me go back up and look at this.
What buff is it again?
This is the middle tree melee buff, the empowerment buff.
Like I said, in PvP, you're about the only person I've ever seen run it, so I don't know how to feel about it. PvE, I can see it being good because I know I popped well and melee shit and nothing happened.
Right.
And they're able to take me out of my well, which then screws my teammates. But personally, I think the melee would be fine. But like I said, I've never seen anybody use it in PvP besides you, so I don't know.
Okay. If that's all we got, we're gonna move on to bottom tree Dawnblade.
That exists.
Yeah, it exists, and it's about to exist a lot more starting next season. First things first, Phoenix Dive. Reduce the delay before the dive starts. Also, you can now input a direction to dive in that direction, i.e. Shatter Dive. That is going to be useful for anybody that runs that.
Fuck yeah, dude.
So, Igniting Touch, ability rework, solar ability kills, and kills on burning targets now cause targets to explode and burn other nearby enemies, who will also explode if they die while burning.
Damn.
Think about this. Pair that thing with necrotic grips. Also, they put in here, your charge melee deals 120 damage and puts a burn on enemies. So it'll put a burn on enemies, plus necrotic grips will put corruption on them. Them homies dead. And you're gonna spend corruption and explosions. It's just a good time for all. It's gonna be the sunshot of melees. Alright. Let's get to everybody's favorite PvP subclass, Chaos Reach.
Yeah.
Increase the beam environment collision size to better match collision size with damage size. Whatever the hell that means.
Don't get hit behind a box, even though you're behind a box.
No. I think that comes from reduced beam endpoint sphere radius in PvP by 33%. So that
Either way,
quote unquote hit through a wall / splash damage Bungie was talking about. Apparently there's an invisible sphere at the end of the Chaos Reach that had that like if you hit near around corners and stuff, that sphere would overtake it and anything in that sphere was taking damage. That's what that was. Also, the beam damage radius in PvP has been reduced by 20%.
I think that's justifiable.
I think the super itself, outside of a change they're making to an exotic, I think this would have made, you know, the super, you know, still usable. But I mean, it's definitely not going to be a top pick. I think the still pain point of this whole thing is going to be the reduced, I'm sorry, not reduced, the amount of super you save when you cancel it. I think that's still the problem with it.
I don't mean to interrupt, but I gotta use the bathroom, so just skip me for like however long I get back.
Okay. Which, you know, we'll get to that. We'll get to the exotic when we get there. We got two more subclasses to touch. Or I'm sorry, two more subclass trees. Bottom tree Stormcaller, the one that Rusty and I are going to be fucking with a lot next season. Starting with the thing that Rusty and I will not be fucking with a lot next season. Arc Souls, increased duration from 12 seconds to 13 seconds. Increased fire rate by 10%.
Wait, we're not gonna be fucking with it?
I mean, I don't really see a reason why you and I are going to be putting any real focus into these. These are just more so going to be like, oh, I did the thing.
There's a rift, there's a thing.
Yeah, it's basically going to be it.
Okay.
Oops, I made these. Enjoy.
Yeah, right.
Electrostatic Surge. Now increases sprint speed when allies are near. That sounds pretty cool. I wonder if that's in addition to and not replacing. I hope it's in addition to. Landfall. This is Swamp's favorite thing. Now fires 5 arc ground projectiles on cast. pretty dope.
Yeah. All about that landfall.
Gonna be interesting to see. And it says up here, landfall felt a little underwhelming, so they increased the spectacle a bit. Now fires 5 arc projectiles along the ground in all directions. So that's gonna be cool. Rusty and I both got some Storm Dancer's brace because they're getting a change as well, which we'll get to that in a little bit. That are gonna make this fuck hard.
Should be able to farm tomorrow, right?
Should be. Yep.
Or today.
Well, was it today? Was today 1340 chest piece? Or was today 1340 helmets?
Chest piece today.
Chest piece was 13. Okay, so 1340 helmets is tomorrow. The chest piece was today. All right. Well. Last thing for warlocks. Go ahead. Go ahead.
I'll be using Crown Tempest myself.
Still? Okay.
To get that longer super.
That's fair. Yeah. That's it's just gonna be interesting. I'm gonna give Storm Dancer's brace a shot because of its changes, which we'll get to after the Nova Warp stuff here. Because that's the Void Tree that's getting a buff that I think Rusty's really excited for.
Oh yeah.
Increased
Definitely
damage
do a
versus
private match
PvE
to see,
combatants. 73%. How bad we think this gonna fuck?
I was gonna do damage.
No longer slows movement speed while charging and charged. That's a PvE and PvP buff. And here's the one that I'm not entirely sure how I feel about. And I'll get to why that is. Now detonates on cast. So I was never the biggest fan of behemoths being in PvP being able to cast their super, and just because they cast it instantly freeze me. I felt like if they just you had somebody just run in there and cast it, freeze everybody, it's free for him. There's nothing you can do. Now Nova Warp, I kind of feel the same way. They just run in, they cast it, they explode, they kill a bunch of people, and then they move on. Not to mention they get a little bit of health back whenever they kill anything with their abilities. I just feel like that kind of negates all that.
I was thinking one time when that was still up, I went inside a bubble, popped the fucking super, and then just instantly shattered that poor Titan. It's so bad. So bad.
Alright, handheld supernova. Increased damage versus PvE combatants by 100% and increased the hold time from 2.5 seconds to 3.2. How we feeling?
So, does that mean like it's going to take longer to charge it, right? Or like
No. You
how
can
long
hold it longer.
Oh, okay. Yeah, it's going to fuck.
Oh yeah.
Especially if you get a oppressive darkness.
Oh, dude, if that's in the game next
With
season.
Contravous hold.
Oh, it's over with. Void will take over.
All right. If nobody else has anything on those, we'll move over to the Warlock exotics. We'll start with
Is it just
Verity's
to see
Brow.
a grenade and then PvE damage?
Yeah, it's basically it. It's the charge time on the no slowed movement while charged and charging on the super, and explosion on cast. And then
That's
the damage.
I wonder how much damage that'll do on cast. Like, can you take out somebody in a super, or can you like?
Ooh, that'll be interesting.
Right.
Okay.
Shut down / roaming super.
Right. All right. Verity's Brow. It's got it reworked for what I believe to be an overall buff, depending on how you look at it. Changed to trigger when you get a weapon kill that matches your subclass energy type, and increase the grenade damage bonus to 20%, up from 10. And that's per stack, which, correct me if I'm wrong, Rusty, that stacks 4 times?
That sounds right. 4 or 5.
Okay.
I can't quite remember.
So how do we feel about this?
Hey, you can trigger it on heavy weapon too, man. It's
Yes.
all about it.
Get a machine gun that's getting that.
You said
buff.
it's got to match your subclass, right?
Yes, sir.
Oh hell yeah.
All right.
It'd be
the
useless
stack.
for Stacy grenades, but hey.
Yeah. I mean, it'll still. Actually, no. We don't really use that for Stacy grenades. We used.
I did when before I started using.
Before I.
Yeah.
I gotcha. All right. All right. So the stag grants damage reduction to allied guardians standing in your rifts. 25% against combatants, 15% against players. One thing I want to know about this is this in addition to when you die, you spawn a rift near you?
I'd say so. Usually the exotics are tacking on extra stuff, not taking stuff away.
True, but when they do that, as in the next one, it says has additional functionality.
I don't know.
So, I mean, if the stags thing is literally the damage resistant stuff, that's fine.
That's
But if it's
yeah,
also
perfect,
in addition to what it currently has, that's fine too.
Do you have to be in the rift with them, or just all your rifts have
It
that?
just says grants damage reduction to allied guardians standing in your rifts.
Alright.
Which, you know,
Now,
if you
question is, work
die,
with well too.
true.
It
If you
should.
die, and you spawn a rift, that rift should give them, you know, the damage reduction.
That's true.
In theory. Next one, Promethean Spurs, has additional functionality. While standing in a rift, solar weapon kills give you class ability energy. When your class ability energy is full, solar weapon kills consume that energy and spawn a combination healing empowerment rift at the target's location. I think this is neat, but I don't find myself wanting to use this.
This is more of a I'm playing around, having fun,
right,
type of exotic, in my
right.
personal opinion. Granted, I've ran it just to run it because it was something different. There's so many exotics that just outbeat it when it comes to support.
Well, its current functionality is when you're using Daybreak, which is the top and bottom tree solar supers, you enemies you kill, it spawns a rift at their location. Isn't that the current functionality of it?
Yeah.
Okay, so that in addition to all this other stuff, that's kind of cool. Gives it a neutral feel.
Be something like you run, just like I said, to have fun and kind of mess around, kind of thing.
Right.
When it comes to serious content, there's going to be other exotics that take its place.
I just don't see it getting. I don't see it replacing my Boots of the Assembler for middle tree. I don't see it replacing Necrotic Grip or Dawn Chorus for bottom tree. And I don't play top tree, so it's whatever. Anything else on that?
I don't see it. Yeah, no, I'm good.
Yeah.
All right. Armors and mods, baby. So,
if you still awake?
What's up?
All right, he's still awake. We're good.
We're on refund exotic, sir. We're on refunds exotic. The following exotics all cap at 50% super refunded: Shards Galanor, Ursa Furiosa, Phoenix Protocol, Storm Dancer's Brace, which is the new one,
Yeah,
and Skull, right? Skull of Dara Ahamkara, wasn't that listed on here as well?
Yep.
I'm actually not seeing. Oh, there it is. Okay. So, yeah. So, Ursa's getting nerfed. Phoenix is getting nerfed. Shards is technically a buff. Skull is technically a buff because they're now. Skull is now based off of. Well, no, it says per kill. It still says per kill. But it's increased the amount of super refunded per kill, and Shards has increased the amount of super granted for hits. And then Storm Dancer's Brace is getting this added to it on top of what it does currently, which is ramps up your damage in that super. How do we feel about those?
Oh man, Storm Dancer all day.
Oh, okay.
I mean, with the super refund exotics, you know, it sucks, but you know, they're still going to be used just because nothing else can do what they do. And,
True.
It's
Are there
gonna
any
be-
that aren't getting hit?
No, all of the ones
Nah,
are getting hit.
every
I don't know
single
why.
one.
Why would they just say like all super refund exotics are going to 50% instead of?
Well, there's
listing them
technically
out?
a reason to that, and I think part of it was because they were increasing some and decreasing others. But the other thing is the next topic on this list. Bye bye Geomags. Geomag stabilizers remove the sprint to top off your super.
I think that this should have been
Yeah.
removed in PvP. I think it should have remained in PvE, and the special
That's
finisher
fair.
mod should have just been increased in cost to use.
I think what they should have done is replace that sprint to top off your super with the transversive increased sprint. So that way you would have had, you know, transversive steps to sprint and reload, and you would have Geomags specifically for Chaos Reach to sprint and increase duration while you're hitting targets with your super. Because now it's just a swap exotic to me, and I don't like swap exotics. I either rock it the entire time or I don't rock it at all. That's just how I feel about it.
Understandable. I mean, I don't like swap exotics either, but you know, depending upon the scenario, if it's required, it's required. I'll do it. But not a fan of it myself.
Okay. Let's talk ammo mods. Let's talk about how scab mods don't stack. How we feeling about that?
Should have been made PvP only, in my opinion. But
Okay.
Yeah, I can see that.
Okay. How do we feel about finder mods getting primary synergy? You get kills with weapons that take primary ammo, and you get increased chances at whatever finder mod you're looking at. So your special weapons and your heavies. How do you feel about those?
I mean, it adds
Can't
a
wait for
new
that,
flair to exotic primaries.
Right, because they get the
and
increased chance.
yeah, and Anarchy and Xeno have been dealt with now. So we're not on those yet, but
Spoilers. Spoilers.
yeah. I mean, I'm sorry, but talking about one thing, you have to bring up another thing
That's
sometimes
fair.
when you're
I
talking
know.
about
I know.
something.
That's fair.
Because had Xeno and Anarchy not been touched, people don't. I mean, yeah, Emma Finder's cool, but people would not take off Anarchy and Xeno for the sake of it.
That's fair.
So I don't know how much of Anarchy and Xeno, what percentage, wanting people to use, exotic primaries for the purpose of ammo finding. I don't know how much of that played into the nerfs of those two weapons. Anarchy probably not much at all. Xeno maybe, because I still don't see that there was anything wrong with Xeno.
Right.
It's a cool change, but it's not enough. Exotic primaries need more. They
Okay.
need more love.
Okay.
If anything, I would say all exotic primaries need a flat buff that two other primary type weapons received
Okay.
or are going to receive coming soon.
All right. Okay. Holster mods. Let's talk about those. New type of leg armor. Gradually bestowed weapons of the matching type over time. Multiple copies will increase the rate ammo is reloaded. The only three things it doesn't work for: rocket launchers, breech-loaded grenade launchers, and bows. The only specific weapon that gets knocked out of it is Ariana's Vow, and that's because it comes with all-loading holster. How do we think about these?
I personally don't understand why it won't work with breech loaded and with rocket launchers.
Because all
If
loading.
yeah, but that doesn't mean that you automatically have auto loading on those weapons.
No, that's
Yeah, I
the
get-
thing. They don't
That
want
would
you to
kill
get
that
that
mod or that
yeah,
perk.
they don't want you to just have that. They want you to have to earn it on the gun. They want it to be something you
So,
sacrifice for those
so is
specific
that
guns.
so? Are they specifically removing auto loading from every single weapon that doesn't just have one in the chamber?
They haven't specified that, and I don't think they will, because I think that the option there is these will be, because there's some of the weapons listed here come with auto loading, and I think actually the only one listed here that comes with that is shotguns. I don't think there's a sniper with auto loading. A couple machine guns
Used to
do,
be,
and a couple power grenade launchers do.
The Moon Sniper used to have auto loading.
I
Which one?
think that it's.
The Moon Sniper had auto loading.
Oh, okay.
Mhm.
I think it's one of those things. It's cool, but it's just like it's a taste of what you want, but it's not truly what you want. Like if they wanted to do this, then I would just say remove autoloading holster as a mod and allow this to work for rocket launchers.
But that's the
If you're going,
thing. This doesn't quote unquote replace auto loading. This is slowly over time. This is reconstruction, but in a
absolutely,
mod.
absolutely, but in the
Breech loaded
case,
grenade launchers and rocket launchers are one magazine size, so it would be auto loading. That's the other thing here. That's why they don't want to do it for those, because those are already auto loading. And bows, they're just one. They're just one. That's why they're not doing it. That's their whole thing with bows. They have one in the
That
neck.
both would make sense.
Yeah.
So it's gonna be basically like, say you have an SMG that holds 32 rounds. It's gonna be one round at a time, most likely. Feeling this gets you like
Maybe.
back up.
The poor man's reconstruction, basically.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's another thing. We bring up reconstruction. I want to know if this stacks with reconstruction.
It's
Yeah.
gotta.
Yeah, we all
That'd
do.
be nuts.
Because if that builds quicker to the initial cap, and then reconstruction can start building to its full completion, that'll be awesome.
yeah,
I think that'll be a
be
neat
pretty
thing.
cool. I mean, the mods are cool. I'm not gonna say they're not, and it's better that
Cost
we
is going to
have
be the
them.
other thing.
If it's more than two, then it might not be worth it to people. It
Agreed.
really might not. It's gonna have to be two, preferably one. But I don't think we're gonna see one. I'd say it's gonna land on two.
I think
Depends on the
primary.
type
But
of
I
weapon
think
too.
primaries will
you
be
know,
one. I think hand cannons
not
will be two.
not to go back to the same thing, because I know you said, well, they don't want the mod to serve as just a pseudo autoloading holster. They don't want to kill that perk. Yeah, it's a cool feature, and I'll use it. But ultimately, you know, uh, even though there is utility in using it for a shotgun or a sniper, there is. I mean, ultimately, this would have been so cool for drum-loaded grenade launchers and rocket launchers, because it would have allowed you
Well, it'll
to
work with drum
enjoy.
loaded.
Okay, pardon me. Breech loaded, and
Okay.
stuff like that. It would have allowed you the benefit of, something like impulse plus uh whatever the delay gratification, whatever the perk is
I
on
think
a
that's
rocket.
unnecessary though, because impulse grants increased reload speed already.
Maybe. It's just, I don't know. It's just one of those things where it's like they introduce something cool, and your mind instantly goes to, oh, this is going to be so awesome for rocket launchers or breech loadeds or anything else that's one in the mag, and they're like, oh yeah, but it won't work for that. Is what it is. But it'll be cool for shotties and for snipers and certain primaries. I think it'll be fun.
Right. Okay. Anything else on that topic?
That's pretty well covered for me.
All right. J5's favorite topic: Warmind cells.
I'm not really the biggest Warmind cell user in the clan, dude. I'm not.
No,
Look
but
at me, baby.
you're the most vocal one about them. Some say
Ultim-
dead. I say you have to
ult-
build into them now,
you have to really build more into them.
which it should have been the case to begin with.
I
They've
think
been neutered
that
now a little bit.
I think that they will still work, and they may be viable in certain scenarios. It just depends. Like,
I think you guys are shitting on them a little too hard with what they did to them.
possibly, we're gonna
See,
have to
The
see it.
total 10-meter reduction with all mods, right?
We're gonna have to see it. We're gonna have to see it play out. If you want to do a podcast, 2 weeks, 3 weeks into the season after we've played with the changes and then talk about them, well then, there you go.
Well,
We're gonna have to
because
see
here's
how
the
it
thing,
plays out.
man. To reduce the damage from 200 at the furthest reach down, and 400 at the closest reach, to now 50 at the lowest reach and 250 at the highest reach. That's base. That doesn't even include the solar
Reach
thing
does not
into it.
bother
Raging
me as
Wrath.
much as damage. I understand reach, but damage is what bothers me. If because with an Ikelos SMG, I still
Fuck that gun.
maybe on every 5 or 6 kills, sometimes as much as 10 kills, I have to wait before one drops. If I
Well,
blow one of those things up and I'm
I,
rocking multiple mods
I don't know
and
if you're
still
aware of
only
this, but
go ahead.
it takes 10 red bar kills with an Ikelos weapon to get a Warmind cell.
Okay, so it's not randomized. It's
No, it is
actually
not. It is
okay.
actually an actual
Yellow
I
bar's
never.
number.
guaranteed, right? Orange is
Yes,
like
yellow
3,
bars
2.
are. Orange, I think, is 3.
I don't think I've ever even thought about that. I just assumed it was randomized. Huh.
Nope.
Um, but yeah, you finally get a War Mind cell to drop, and then you blow it up. You're surrounded by like at least 15 ads. If only 4 or 5 of them die, and not because of range, but because of the damage reduction, then pretty much to me, yeah, that's dead in the water. That's you wasting God knows how many mod slots you could be using for something else. And in that scenario, if they're neutering it to that level, which we don't know yet, then I'd say take it out. It's all because if people aren't going to use it, it serves as nothing but clutter for the mod selection screen. That's all it serves as if people are not going to use it.
See, me personally, this nerf doesn't bother me at all because I'm not a Warmind user. I use Charge for Light. That's what I like. That's what I like to run. I've tried Warmind cells. I'm wrong. They're nice, but from experience with us and experience of my own, it fucks a lot of scenarios up. If
Right.
somebody's like, "Ooh, ball, shoot, wipe,"
Yeah.
you
In a
know,
raid. Yeah, in a raid.
I played with Stings enough to know what that man's capable of.
Let's be honest, it's not the man, it's the mods.
Yeah, he sees shiny orange ball he wants to shoot. Oh, is it next to an oracle that's not ready to be shot yet? Oh well, send it. But personally, it doesn't bother me. I don't think that they're going to kill it. I think they're going to do definitely, like Rusty said, a neuter. But
Right.
we'll have to see. And I fully agree with J5. 2 weeks down the road after the new season, I'd like to do another podcast just to see what our opinion is on a lot of the changes. Because it might not be too severe.
Okay.
You know, it might still be a very viable loadout to use.
Well,
If not, we'll adapt and overcome.
well, okay. So we've talked about just how we feel about them. Like, I haven't actually gone over them for this. Base war mine cells reduce the radius of the explosion effect from 10 to 6 meters. Reduce the damage of the explosion down to 50 to 250. Global reach now costs 3. Reduce the amount of radius increase down from 20. It's at 10 now. Cellular suppression, reduce the duration of the suppressing effect. Was 3 seconds, is going to be 2 seconds now. I don't see that being a big difference, but whatever. Wrath of Rasputin, reduce the bonus solar damage. Previously 100 to 200, now down to 25 to 100. Once again, I just feel like this is just going to be a thing you got to build into.
I fully agree.
And on that, we're going to move into Elemental Wells. The armor mods, I think Rusty and I are going to spend a lot of time fucking around with next season.
Are they finally making those mods worth a while?
They're doing some interesting
might.
things here. Elemental armaments can now they have an increased chance to spawn an elemental well based on the tier of the enemy defeated. Pretty good. Font of Might base duration has been increased to 10 seconds and increased the damage bonus from 10% to 25%.
Big speculation there is hopefully it'll stack with, how's that one called? Charge of Light mod.
We'll have to see.
Yeah.
Because I've got builds set up already that take advantage of elemental armaments and also take advantage of Font of Might, Charged with Light. There's an elemental well mod that when you pick up an elemental well, you gain a stack of Charged with Light, and if that elemental well matches your subclass type, you get 2 stacks.
Yeah. Yep. Don't need fucking taking charge no more.
Yeah, it's a pretty good setup. Rusty and I kind of have builds already set up for next season with Storm Dancer's Brace, any arc weapon. Like Trinity Ghoul's a good one. I was thinking about this the other day, Rusty. Shadow Price arc. Salvo arc.
Dragonfly?
Yeah, Dragonfly will work on it. Yeah.
I got me a Dragonfly.
I think
Shadow
it's
ready to go.
I think it's safe to say we're approaching a season that definitely encourages using energy weapons that match your subclass type. 'Cause I'm
Right.
seeing a lot of that.
Yeah, for sure.
I can agree on that.
Where is? Oh, was that in weapons? Okay, that was in weapons, wasn't it? Where are we? There we go. Okay. Next up, primary ammo. All primary ammo weapons now have infinite ammo.
Should
Not
have
in
been from the
clip,
start.
in reserves. Initial
Should've been a
override.
thing.
This is the buff to initial override. This is why they did it. No more bricks. That's why they're giving us the 20% melee energy back. Drop mag rework. Downside of reducing reserve ammo is now almost meaningless. Reworked to be plus reload minus magazine size. I have one hand cannon in my vault that has drop mag that I'm interested to see. J5, your curated kindled orchid has drop mag, doesn't it?
Yeah, so I'm very curious. If it drops this down to like 7 in the mag, I mean, I don't know.
That's what I want to see.
If it-
I want to see if it's going to be worth keeping on to guns like that, or if it's going to be better to just swap them over to a different perk altogether.
Yeah, possibly. I think, but it's curated, so there's no option to turn off drop mag.
No, I understand. I'm talking about for other guns though.
But it's increasing the magazine size though, right? That's what drop mag's gonna do.
It's gonna reduce the magazine size.
Yeah, but
Reduce,
it's only
not increase.
Not increase.
yeah, reduce. So it's only 10 in
Oh.
it's only 10 in the mag on the curated orchid. So
Shit.
I would think either 7, possibly 6. If we're lucky, 8. If it's 8, no biggie. It'd be cool.
If it's 7, it's still kind of iffy. If it's 6, oof.
If it's
Yeah,
stiff,
right.
yeah. If it's 6, really big oof.
And primary ammo weapons. You had something to say about it?
It should have been something that was done in the first place. Since day one, the ammo thing.
Agree.
Because
I think them taking out synthesis from 1 to 2 should have made that change. Granted,
Yeah.
you know, it was a little different back in year 1 because you had your primary, you had your kinetic weapons, your energy weapons, and your power weapons, and your energy weapons back then took green ammo.
yeah,
So I get
That's
it.
true.
I get it. That was a little different, but maybe when Forsaken hit up, maybe that should have been the change.
but as far as it goes for drop mag, I try to avoid that like somebody with hepatitis. I had it for Not Forgotten, who knows how, and I would go on a massive terror or just normal
And run out
gunfights
of
and
ammo.
look down, be gone. So I've never liked drop mag. I try to avoid it like it's cancer.
Yeah,
I think
just
drop.
don't care.
I think drop mag is a perk that's only been accepted when it's placed on a gun like a Luna, like a Not Forgotten, like a curated kindled, when the gun offers so much that you're willing to overlook drop mag.
Yeah. All right. Well, with that, compact
On
arrow
that,
shafts.
can I add
Sorry.
something to that too?
Yes, you can.
With the whole primary thing, like, so right now, like in GM or something, you're at the boss and you're like kind of running around trying to peck at him, and you can empty out all your primary and get back some green. But now with that going on, you was stuck with that primary.
Well,
You
when
won't be
we
able
talked
to
about
empty it
that,
out.
well, okay, well, yeah, you're talking about in a GM state. Yeah, I see the problem there.
You can't change. Yeah,
Right,
change
you
that.
can't change your
Change that.
weapon, so that's going to be something that needs to be
That'll
looked
be
at.
interesting.
Yeah. Compact arrow shaft. It also used to, you know, function in a similar way to drop mag, except its bonus didn't hurt reserves. I think I don't remember what it did otherwise, but now it's getting a rework to be a plus reload and plus handling stats. So, other than that, they updated some other perks that refer to reserves in a way that no longer are accurate, but we will get to those. We will get to those momentarily, my friends. Where are we gonna start at? I know.
We on the weapon buffs and nerf section?
Yes, sir. We're gonna start with special grenade launchers, breach loads. You get a PvP nerf and a PvE buff. So, they get a reduced blast radius by 0.4 meters, and they give an example, and the max blast radius is decreased from 4.55 meters to 4.15, and the minimum blast is decreased from 3.8 to 3.4. Reduce the splash damage by 20, which reduces total damage for a direct hit from 220 down to 200 before taking into account spike or proximity grenades. But they increase the PvE damage by 12%. Because of the above splash damage changes, this results in a small overall buff to combined damage. Wither Horde is unaffected, which is fine, if I'm being 100% honest. It doesn't get the damage upgrade, but it also doesn't suffer in any form.
With GLs, like it doesn't. It's never felt with GLs that range even really mattered. I mean, I know it does. If you were able to pop somebody with a special breach loaded from across the map, right? It's not going to kill them because of damage with fall off. But you know, when you're in that 20 to 40 meter range, or hell, when you're in a 5 to 40 meter range, it doesn't even feel like there's any difference. A direct hit's a direct hit.
Right.
And I feel that needs to be adjusted. For me, you know, I'm very grateful that they're fine with how they operate in PvE. And they didn't touch them there. If anything, they buffed them, and that's great. Salvo's such a good ad clear weapon. Blinding, our new launchers we're using with blinding now are so good. So I'm glad they're not messing with that. But PvP, I don't think they got hit nearly enough. Personally, I don't know what the number should be, but essentially my feeling on it is this: if somebody direct hits you with a special breach loaded, it should still take 2 shots from a hand cannon after that to kill you.
I don't know about a direct. I would say 1.
Okay, 1. Okay, but it's got to
One
be a
headshot or 2
direct
body.
GL hit. One
I will
headshot.
say one headshot, two body, and if it's a 180, it should be a headshot and a body, or two bodies,
Yeah.
either or.
Yeah. But it should you know they're cleanup weapons in PvP, and that's fine. You know that's what they're supposed to be. You know, we have to play against all sorts of weapons we don't want to play against. You know, it
Right.
can't just be nothing but shotguns and hand cannons.
Right.
But it's got to be balanced, and you know, getting hit with blast damage and then one tap with a sturm or something or any other 120, it's BS. It doesn't
Okay.
work.
Devil's
And they,
Road.
yeah.
All right. Pro, you got anything on these?
I'm glad something's happening to them in PvP because you guys play with me. You know the rage that ensues from getting hit by a GL.
Yes, sir.
The PvE I like is here. Like I used to not want to use them because of PvP, and then here lately I've been trying them, and I've fallen in love with a few of them. Empty Vessel being one of them, and just here recently getting a God roll Banshee GL that he was selling that I was able to masterwork. That thing's just gruesome. So I'm glad they're getting a buff there, and I'm so happy to see a nerf in PvP because I hate them in PvP. I think it involves no skill.
Okay.
I think it's a cheap weapon to use.
Okay.
I agree. And
Alright.
I feel like they did not cut the nuts off of them enough. They need a lot more than that, but we'll have to see how it plays.
Okay. Ready to move on to the next topic?
Would you like to hear my one complaint about the buffs?
Okay, hold on. Were your complaints about buffs for grenade launchers?
No.
Oh, so it's for machine guns.
In the spring of 2019, when Season of the Drifter launched, they nerfed machine gun damage by 21%.
Yep.
And then even had the audacity to troll us by offering us a ritual machine gun called 21% delirium.
I never realized that.
Now almost 2 years later, they are rebuffing them by 20%. And my one argument is, where the hell's my other 1%? I want my 1%.
Should they go back and rename that gun the 1% delirium now?
Yeah.
I would totally use it again.
So
That's pretty funny.
yeah, the machine gun buff. Thank God, we need it. You know, they need to be viable again. I want my 1%.
I'm definitely happy for it because I like LMGs. Thunderlord.
Yeah, that's
is
my main
definitely
one. I
gonna be
want
fun
to
again.
try it out with.
Yeah, you know it's gonna be fun again.
DSC machine gun, bro.
I know, but the ad clearing potential of Thunderlord, because it's
nuts.
similar to Cloud Strike in the sense that headshots will summon down a little bit of lightning.
You imagine blinding a whole bunch of ads and then just start using Thunder? It's gonna be broke. It's just gonna be a dumb combination, and I'm gonna love it because I love dumb shit. But I'm definitely glad to see machine guns get it again. When they got hit, I looked at my what is the name of it again?
Hammerhead.
Hammerhead. I looked at it depressed. I was very depressed when they got hit. I loved my Hammerhead. I didn't have a good roll, but by God, it's still 8.
My first roll was still my best roll.
I still say probably a Depth Swarm's about to be the GOAT.
So
I just don't like the sights on it.
So I brought up something. I brought up Thunderlord with ad clearing potential. So there was this is just a little fun fact. There was a gun in development that they gave the code name of Thunder Lady. And if you might know the answer to this, but if anybody else thinks they might know what that gun when it finally came out and what its name actually is now, go ahead and take a guess.
I know, so I'm not gonna guess.
Okay.
Cloud Strike?
Yes, sir. Its in-house name was
Lord and Lady.
Yeah, it was Thunder Lady and Thunder Lord.
Damn.
That's why Thunderlord has the little lightning effects it has when you're shooting it, and Cloud Strike summons down the lightning and stuff, and also creates a storm cloud when you nail those precision hits. So I thought that was pretty cool. When
my
you
thunder
brought that
at,
up.
man?
Shut the fuck up.
We need Thunder Prince. Put it on a sidearm.
Oh my God, I'm in. Exotic
wheels.
Vestian Dynasty win.
Thunder Prince.
All right. On to the next topic. The one that I think Rusty and I have been most hyped about over the last couple weeks. Scout
The
rifles
one I
and
can't
hand
get.
cannons.
Okay, that one.
Increased damage versus miners by 15%.
Wait, what?
Yeah.
Is miners? It's miners?
Red bars, yeah.
Just
I
miners,
thought it
no
was all.
flat buff, just miners.
I mean, the miners has been always the main complaint. You know, shooting a dreg in the
That's-
head and it
that's
living with a little bit of health. Vandals taking more than 2 headshots to kill sometimes. You know, that's always been nothing's more dissatisfying than shooting a thrall in the head and it living. Like that just shouldn't happen with the scout or a hand cannon. So I mean, I'm happy with this buff.
Personally, I only use scouts and GMs, so it'd be nice to see be able to shoot red bars and actually have more of a damage to them.
Oh, for sure.
I stopped using hand cannons and PvE once they took Midnight Coop and sunset it. That was my baby in PvE. That and Better Devils. So,
We all remember the better dildos.
oh yeah. But other than that, I'm glad to see scouts getting some love. Hand cannons and PvE. I'm a hand cannon main in PvP, but I never pop one on in PvE unless I have to.
Time lost, fate bringer. All day, baby, all day. All right. If that's all we got there, let's get into this huge chunk of mess that is fusion rifles. So I'm not gonna read everything here. I'm just gonna start with the increased PvE damage stuff. So, increased PvE damage bonus such that all subfamilies have a 15% PvE bonus. Previously, high impact was 0%, precision adapters were 10, and rapid fires were 12. So, from my understanding from this, high impacts are getting a 15% increase, precision and adaptives are getting a 5, and rapid fires are getting a 2.5% increase. That's the way I'm understanding this, because that's what their previous updates were in like 1 or 2 sandboxes ago. So now they're all being brought to 15%. Pushed subfamilies further apart, adjusting charge time. Shots fired per burst was 7 for all subfamilies, and damage. Note that the base below means that without battery perks, charge time masterwork or the adept charge time mod. There's a lot here to unpack. We'll start with the high impacts. They charge slower, and while still strong, require more planning to use effectively. Now, my initial response to reading these is it's dead. You know, base charge time's gone up from 0.86 to a full second. Shots per burst has been reduced from 7 to 5. Reduced total damage per burst. In playtesting, they found that the charging these in the open is super risky, but pre-charging around the corners or otherwise in safety is very effective. With the reduced shots per burst, they are now less reliant on stability, so can stack a bit more range. This is why I said they're probably not going to suffer from the sliding nerf too much, because the stability is not a major issue with these.
My question is, and I don't know if this is, I'm not seeing it in the list. 1K, is it getting anything?
I think I don't think it suffers from this because it's a different type of fusion rifle. Just like kind of like we'll get to Jotun, we'll get to Mythic class, even Bastion's mentioned in here later on in the list. But because it fires a single beam that does a bunch of explosion, I think it's unaffected by any of this. Honestly, if it gets a damage increase, I'd be shocked.
I would love to use it again.
Oh, I'm gonna next season. Unstoppable fusion rifle mod. It's either gonna be Vex Mythic class or it's gonna be the fucking 1K, and that's all gonna be dependent on if when I fire the 1K, if it stuns them and then the explosion does full damage.
True.
J5, you're a Glaciocasm, or is it Glaciocasm? Yeah, I think it's Glaciocasm.
Yeah.
You're a Glaciocasm user. How does this affect you?
I mean, it means I can't snipe you guys in private matches anymore with
He
it.
died a little inside, let's be
Fucking
honest.
God.
I mean, the high impacts were a little ridiculous for the range that they had, so I can understand that. I personally would have just preferred like a blanket hard nerf to the range on them, as opposed to messing with the bolts and messing with the charge time.
Okay.
I think Jotun is way more obnoxious than a Glaciocasm or an Arantil user. So
Oh, don't worry, we'll get to Jotun.
I know we're gonna get to Jotun, but I think the disparagement between the nerf to the high impact fusions and the adjustment to Jotun is just ridiculous.
Jotun
Um,
buff? Question mark.
yeah. So,
Yeah.
All right.
but they're extremely frustrating to play against, so I can completely understand that. But the thing is that it's not going. I think that people that are in love with the play style of a Glacio, they're just going to go to something like a Merciless that within itself is somewhat high impact fusion
Well,
because of that
that's
charge
on
time.
here as well. It'll be good. It'll be good when we get there.
Yep.
I think.
Rusty. I'm sorry, Pro. Pro, go ahead.
No, Boris, you go ahead.
I was gonna ask him if he had any inputs on this. That's all.
Nah, not really.
Okay, Pro.
I know that it's listed a little bit later on, but I think the only thing that's going to be hurt by the slide is rapid fire, and I think that's the reason the slide is also a part of this next season, because you might just by sliding around with a rapid fire frame, you'd be melted before you knew it happened.
Right. Okay. Precision
But yeah,
and adaptives. They're close to unchanged, which I brought that up with the sliding stuff earlier on. The base charge time is unchanged. Shots per burst is unchanged, stays at 7. Slightly increased total damage per burst, and they feel that they are very effective all around and without stepping on the niches of high impacts and rapid fires. And so they say they'll be keeping a good plug one for PvP. But like I said, with the sliding stuff, I feel like the slide stuff might mostly unaffect the precisions and adaptives because of the changes here. I think they're still gonna be fine. Because you still have to land. I think it's 5 bolts with the precision and an adaptive to get a kill. So, I feel like with the sliding, you're sliding, you're close to somebody, so I don't feel like it's gonna hurt it. I think it'll still be fine.
yeah.
Anybody else have any inputs on this?
I'm not too
Can't wait
much
to see how no
confusion, but
composure is.
yeah.
Well, no composers are rapid fire. We haven't even got there yet.
Oh,
What's Telesto? What would it be?
Well, let me pull that up in dim here, and I'll let you know.
That's what I'm looking at, and it's not.
Right. All the exotics have a different time on them. Like Telesto's a 780 charge time. If I look at my plug one, it's a 780. So it's technically a precision / adaptive frame.
All right.
nice.
So, but like I said, none of those changes are gonna affect that outside of the small damage one. Jotun's technically a high impact, which we're gonna get to that here in a bit. Merciless, same thing. It's not quite a high impact because it's a 900 instead of a 1,000 millisecond charge time. So once again, we'll get to that when we get to that. But rapid fires, because we were talking no composure, they charge faster, allowing them to be used more reactively. Their base charge time has been decreased from 0.54 to 0.46. So in theory, you can charge 2 of those up before a single glaciocasm gets a charge up. Shots per burst has been increased from 7 to 9, and they increased the total damage per burst. They found that these are going to be really good against shotgun rushers because you can get 2 shots off real quick. So I feel like even though the slide's gonna hurt stability and rapid fires are gonna suffer from that because they're more heavily reliant on stability, I feel like the fact that they went from 7 to 9 bolts is gonna compensate for that, and that
Oh, for sure.
they're not gonna hurt nearly as much as the high impacts are, because the high impacts, they lose they lose 2 bolts, so they're down to 5. So I don't know. I feel like the rapid fire fusions are gonna
So,
not be too fucked up from the slides.
so now you gotta hit every single bolt on the high impacts to even like hope to kill, right?
4 out of 5.
Yeah,
4 to 5.
it's still 4 out of 5.
80% accuracy, man. Alright.
Yep.
Could be rough.
Any thoughts on the rapid fires?
The rapid fires are definitely the most exciting change for the fusion, so it's going to be
Definitely.
interesting. It's going to be interesting to see. But the fact is that if a shotgun user gets within 2 meters of you, if one full burst of the 9 spread cannot put him down, then it's not going to matter.
Yeah.
They're not going to be used. If they cannot challenge a shotgun 100%, life for life within a 3 to 1 meter radius, it's not worth it.
Right.
So we're just gonna have to see. If it's gonna take 2 bursts to put down a shotgunner or a chaperone user, they're dead in the water. They
Yeah.
have to be able to kill in one burst from at least 10 meters.
Yeah.
Well, maybe not 10, but at least 8 meters. If not, they're not worth it.
They're making a change to backup plan. They're moving the plus 100 to charge time, and they're putting a charge time multiplier from 0.85 down to 0.7. Now scales damage by 0.8. I don't know what the current stuff is, so I don't know how this is overall going to affect it. It almost seems like maybe this will be a slight improvement to backup plan, but it still seems like there's going to be a damage nerf to it. So I don't know. We'll have to wait and see. Liquid coils and accelerated coils, they're both getting a rework in the same, or for similar reasons rather. Both converted to scale charge time and damage instead of modifying the charge time stat. So I imagine it'll be a little bit better than what they currently are. This is the
I
final
think backup
effect.
plan.
But,
Sorry.
no, you're good.
I think backup plan, just the entire perk itself, just needs a reimagining.
Well, it's getting one here. It's just a matter of whether or not it's going to be decent or not. But they said the final effect for liquid and accelerated is much the same as before, but they're now more robust. However, they won't visibly change. So that's the thing. They won't show the charge time change on the inspection screen anymore, which I guess is fine. And then, of course, the next topic is something that I don't think affects any of us, because I don't think any of us have an Adept fusion rifle. The Adept charge time mod felt pointless. It felt like it would.
We got Adept plug 1.
Oh yeah, we
Yeah,
do.
we got plugs.
Yeah, you're right.
I
I don't have a
that
dead charge time though, so.
And they felt like it would still be balanced against other mods if it didn't reduce damage. So they're changing the functionality to scale charge time directly instead of changing the charge time stat without adjusting the damage. So it makes it seem like it'll make it charge faster but keep the damage, I guess is the way I'm reading that. So yeah, there's a note here for the masterwork. Honestly, I don't understand half of it, other than the fact that they thought about making it a perk, but then it would exceed the perk pool limit or whatever and break the game. So all I know is I don't typically go for a charge time masterwork. If I see that, I don't masterwork it.
Yeah, it's deleted. Yeah.
So yeah, I believe that's it for fusion rifles. I think we got the main things we wanted to talk to about them out of the way. Let's talk anarchy.
Going on the anarchy that's happening with the damage reserve nerd. I'm just going to throw this out here. If you want something that has about close to the equal amount of damage with the same amount of reserve, you might want to take a look at the Prospector.
True.
It's probably going to shine once the...
with the holster mods too, right?
Yep.
Mm-hmm. I got a feeling it's going to shine. It's going to be a solid one to go to. I personally...
Or Catalyst do?
Let me tell you.
Curious.
It shows you. Let me pull it my...
20 per plus 20 blast radius and plus 70 inventory size.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
It's definitely going to be solid. I love running it. I don't like how... I can understand the damage nerf to it, because I mean, you just stack it on something, you're getting over 1 million damage alone with anarchy. I can understand that, but I don't like the reserve change. You're taking the damage away, the reserve should stay. That way you can counteract the damage with this more explosives.
Well, to be fair, the damage is only against bosses. It's not affecting anything else. It's not even affecting champions. Champions are still going to take the same amount of damage they do now. So I think that's think that's their reasoning from hitting the reserves and the damage. If the damage is just the bosses, I think that's the balance to it.
I get that, but I still tend to agree. I think the double dip was unnecessary, because in a scenario like like strikes or regular VOG, something like that, we're still gonna use Anarchy. It's just gonna
Maybe
take a
not.
little bit. Well, maybe not. If there's something better, but if
If
there's, let's say,
Prospector
there's
fucks,
not
man,
something
Prospector
better,
fucks.
Prospector
I hear
fucks.
that. But I'm just saying, let's say the numbers come out and it's still the best. We're gonna use Anarchy. It's gonna take us a little bit longer. But for me, where it hurts is the GM, simply because I hear the argument, we'll just run double reserves and that'll get you back up to 20 rounds. It's more than enough. Well,
Nah,
nobody's
you need something better than that.
nobody's gonna run double reserves in a
Over
GM unless
fucking
they're just
damage resistant
absolutely
stuff.
insane.
Yeah.
So that's a mute point that you can just run double reserves to mitigate
Yeah,
some of
you
this
got a
pain.
point there. You got a point.
So for GMs, it's literally going to be a situation where Anarchy might turn into the thing that one guy on the team runs. But for boss damage, no way. That would I think it'd be a smart move for all three to run Anarchy. I could be wrong, but that's how I see it right now.
Prospector will definitely take a huge part of the replacing damage, in my opinion. The only reason I loved Anarchy so much, not only because of the massive amount of damage numbers it could do, it was the factor, we didn't have somebody running Aeons, and you were getting low on ammo. You had 26 rounds. All you had to do was stick an opponent one time with a grenade to get the damage off of it.
Yeah.
To where the Prospector, you basically send full volley and yeet it. To see what happens, and that's the reason I like the Anarchies. You had so much reserves to be more careless about what you did. That's my biggest problem. The damage sucks, but it's not life ending. It's the reserves that kills me on it.
Right.
That's all I'm going to say on it.
Okay. Well, I think that one's been talked about a lot throughout the community. So I think we're good. We think we've touched on it for the most part. So why don't we move on to Xenophage? Reduced rate of fire from 120 to 90, and it receives less of the machine gun PvE damage buff. Only thing here that I wish they would have said, what is it receiving then?
Yeah.
Exactly.
I think it's another completely unnecessary hit. If you want to give it less of the machine gun buff, then okay, fine. But the fact that you're gonna lower the fire rate, I think it's just silly. It's hurting a weapon that really wasn't causing too much chaos, in my opinion, versus Anarchy. Anarchy
you also have to keep
sucks,
in
but I can
mind.
at least understand it.
You have to keep in mind that this probably isn't a nerf because of something that it's doing now. It's probably a nerf because of something it's gonna do within the next season or two.
Possibility.
Think of it like the Whisper nerf, or not the Whisper nerf, the Sleeper nerf that came out of nowhere before Garden of
Crown.
Salvation, or was it Crown?
Crown.
Okay. Think
They
of it
didn't
that
want
way. It
people
was setting up
ricocheting
for something.
Garon.
Right. So that's what I'm thinking. This is probably for. This is probably setting up for something they don't want to tell us about.
And the rate of fire, I can respect it because we all can agree. Once you get the Xenophage popping off, you're looking at the sky 95% of the time.
You're not
So,
wrong.
Yeah.
let's hope that's fixing it. I mean, I can accept it if it fixes that recoil. If it does not, I see no point
Right.
in the rate of fire. Because
Right.
I mean, when you're running full Xeno, you're using your whole arm and elbow and that fucking analog stick to hold it down.
Right.
If it does not affect it, then it's just a waste, in my opinion.
Okay.
But like you said, it could be a future thing. But
All right. That's Xenophage. Fighting Lion rework. Fighting Lion reserve ammo has been increased from a lot to infinity.
fuck that guy.
It receives the same changes as other breech-loaded grenade launchers, so it got buffed too. Good's good. Reduce the base reload speed stat to 0. That's not good, but there's reasons for it. Because grenade launchers with
PvP.
0 reload stats reload very, very slowly. Now, sorry, got a little gassy there. Now increases reload speed to its previous level on damaging multiple enemies with 1 grenade. That's kind of cool. That's something new to it.
I don't want to sound too ignorant here, but Because maybe I haven't read up enough on what everything that Lion does. But what was the purpose of them saying that we shouldn't be manually reloading Lion anyway? Is there something within the Lion perk set that gives it some form of auto reload?
Does
Chimera,
somebody
nigga.
else want to take this?
You got it.
Go
Rusty,
for
you
it.
want to take it?
You good?
All right. So Fighting Lion has this neat little perk on it. Let me just find the gun real quick in my thing here. It's got a perk
Okay.
called Thin the Herd, right? Direct hits do more damage to enemy combatant shields. Rapid kills against grenade damaged enemies refill the magazine.
Okay then.
Hence the reason why I said when I was in comp going for mountaintop and other weapons, I seen a Titan with a rally barricade. 9 out of 10 times he had a fighting lion in his hands because he himself was God.
So more often than not in PvP, you're really not going to get that reload benefit. I would imagine, or that auto loading benefit.
Well, okay, so I'll put it to you this way.
Snap line, baby.
The way that you put grenade launchers earlier, you were like, oh, they're a cleanup weapon. You know, you damage an enemy, they run away, you shoot the grenade launcher around the corner, kill them, right? Fighting Lion's a primer. You shoot them, you damage them, you kill them with your other gun. Fighting Lion immediately gets reloaded. That's that's the whole thing with Fighting Lion.
And
I
it's a
think
nuisance.
I think what's new to it is the increased reload speed on damaging multiple enemies. I don't think that was there before, so I think that still gives you the option to play with the gun like a grenade launcher, which I feel like it probably shouldn't. I think that part is a little unnecessary considering it has infinite ammo. I feel like it should just be, hey, shoot, swap, kill, get the thing reloaded, swap back to it, shoot it again. I still feel like that should be the play style of Fighting Lion. I don't like this whole concept of shoot, damage multiple enemies, let me reload real quick, fire again. That's
You need to show
my
J5
take on it.
Cammy's snap line video, man.
Oh, I'm sure he's seen it.
It's stupid.
He's fucking nuts, man.
So
Doof pop, doof pop, doof pop.
let's get to the big boy. The one everybody is so excited for next season. Rusty, you excited?
I'm fucking ecstatic. I can't wait.
You excited to use that Vex Mythoclast?
I can't wait, man.
Oh, dude, can you wait till Tuesday so we can do some more runs to try and get you yours because you still don't have one?
I'll try.
Let me tell you, man, this thing's
hope I
got the
don't-
PVE damage bonus increased by about 40%. It's getting its range stat increased to be near best in class for high impact autos. Gonna increase stability stat. Gonna rework catalyst to grant stability and damage after kill. We'll come back to that one because I actually have a question about it. Increase the rate of fire from 360 to 390. Reduce linear fusion rifle charge mode time from 820 to 533. That should be kind of cool. And no longer, this is the biggest thing I think everybody's excited for, no longer loses overcharge stacks on stow except when in linear fusion rifle mode.
This is all you guys.
Okay, so
It sure as fuck ain't me.
shut the fuck up. I want to get back to this. Rework catalyst to grant stability and damage after a kill. I want to know, because right now the way it works is the stability is based off of how many stacks of overcharge you have. Is the damage after kill also going to be that, or is it literally just going to be rampage? What do you think, J5?
I mean, so hold on. How did they read how the catalyst is going to work again?
Rework
how does that
catalyst to
read?
grant stability and
Grant
damage
stability.
after a kill.
That sounds more like kill clip. Or no, wait, it says after a kill as
After a
opposed to
kill.
after a reload.
After
Boss
a
rampage.
kill.
Yeah, it's just rampage by
Markov
another
chain.
name.
String and curses.
Markov chain, string curses, yeah.
But see that
I
brings to point because Markov chain and string of curses they stack up to 5 each. Is this going to stack up to 6 because of overcharge stacks, or is it going to be 3 or 5 or whatever? That's the thing I want to see. I want to see what the damage bonus is. I want to see if this is rampage. I want to see if this is crowd control from D1. Like, this is the things I want to see, man. Excited for this.
So you're wondering if it's a stackable damage buff.
Right.
Yeah, that's a wait and see.
Yeah.
overall, I mean, it's good that they're adjusting the gun. I don't ever want to use the words. I think they went too far with how much they're adjusting it, but I mean, it's pretty crazy. Now, is there anything about the linear fusion mode doing less damage because of a lesser charge time?
Probably, but I think it'll still one tap headshot in Crucible because
Well, the
because it's
40% damage buff is not in
right,
Crucible.
right. But the 533 charge time is same as a standard linear fusion rifle. Hence why I think it might still be the same.
I have something on that. No matter what the charge time is, it's still going to one shot to the head. No matter what linear fusion charge time is, it's considered a sniper shot, which any sniper, you look at RPMs, will one shot headshot.
That's what I was
So
saying.
that's the way to look at it.
That's what I was saying. Is
people
like because it's going to be a standard, it's going to be the same as a standard linear fusion rifle. Even though it's a gun that takes primary ammo in Crucible, I'm sure it'll still one tap to the head. That's all I was saying.
I mean, people say it's like a 360 auto in the regular mode, and it is, but I mean, it feels more like a 360 scout rifle, in a sense, to me at least. So this is going to be interesting to see it bumped up to 390 with this, and I wonder if the stability bump is just to give it the exact same feel that it has now in adjusting for the faster rate of fire, or if it's going to be closer to a laser beam. Don't know.
We'll have to wait and
But
see.
overall, pretty excited for it, but like, other people have said, that might be a mid-season nerf
Right.
for how good they're making it.
Oh, you know it.
So if I get it before they nerf it.
Yeah. Like
I
that's
told
gonna
you
be
I
a
was
Please
going
that's
to
gonna
use
be a
it.
Gambit dream weapon, man.
Yep.
Oof.
That's what's going to get it nerfed. I mean,
The
we look
extra
at
fucking
every... Where'd the rest of you go?
primary ammo. What? Is it with that primary ammo finder shit too, man?
Yep. Should synergize with the primary ammo finder stuff. All right, let's do the next three together. Merciless, Jotun, Bastion. Merciless getting a small rework, updated perk to account for fewer shots per burst, and so because it is technically a high impact, so it should still build up charge rate at the same per amount as same amount per burst as before, and they reduced the damage penalty for increasing charge rate by 40%. I guess to compensate for the lack of bolts.
I
Jotun,
think it should have
hold
been.
on, let me read the
Sorry,
other
go
ones,
ahead.
and then we'll go back and talk through all three.
You
Jotun
got it.
reduced the charge time from 0.82 to 0.78,
Oh, shit.
which I love. I love that. I love this right here. Charges 0.04 seconds faster, and it's slightly reduced damage per shot. So, maybe buff, maybe nerf. Well, I don't really know. And then Bastion reduced the damage by 15%. Can now not quite kill a guardian with one shot in the 3-shot burst. So it's gonna take 2 shots out of the burst to kill a guardian. Like that's the only way to guarantee it. They're increasing the spread angle again by 10%, and they've increased PVE damage by 25%. So overall, a 10% increase in PVE. Because I think it previously got 15%. Bless you. I think it previously got 15% last update. So, but yeah, Merciless, Jotun, Bastion. How we feeling about these?
Merciless hasn't seen any love or been really touched since year one for melting bosses. As far as Hilton goes, kind of stupid charge time because we all hate it. We'll see what it comes down to. Hopefully, it does not one shot anymore. If it doesn't one shot anymore, Barton's still gonna kill you, in my opinion. And Bastion, I don't see why they took the damage down. I mean, I know it's a good gun, but really, within 2 shots, you're dead. As slow as it would shoot for the second shot, you're dead. In my opinion. Like I said, Merciless, I'm glad it's getting touched. Jotun, kind of like what the hell, and Bastion, I'm confused. But that's my take on all three.
Okay. Who's next?
I don't really care about all three of them. The Jotun was negligible. Bastion's dead. And Merciless is whatever.
Okay. J5.
I think Merciless definitely should have been exempt from the bolt change to the high impact because it's an exotic. Um, but we'll have to see once again how it plays.
Sure.
You're really hurting, in a way, the identity of the weapon when you mess with the bolts on a fusion rifle like that. So we'll have to see what it does. Jotun kind of negligible. Jotun needs way more of an adjustment, but it's not going to happen unless more players gravitate to using it, causing more of a stench in PvP. But it would be nice to see if there was something done to Jotun to make it still viable, to still make it obnoxious, but to make a user have to work a lot harder to get a kill with it.
Right.
Bastion, see, I don't know, like, cause it fires out 3 volleys, right? And one volley would kill somebody, right? You could kill. Well, I mean, for me, I was almost always hitting somebody with at least 2, if not all 3 of them. So hopefully Bastion shouldn't feel any different than me.
Okay. I think the only one that in this that really excites me at all is Merciless because I've always loved that gun. So I'm definitely gonna fuck with it a little bit next season and see how it feels. But other than that, yeah, the Jotuns, whatever. I only use it in PvP and Bastion. We'll see. We'll see. All right. Sweet business rework. Now refills magazine on picking up special and heavy ammo instead of primary. Eat a dick, Swamp.
Lead from gold. Man.
Dumb. They should have given the gun subsistence. I really think they should have. Just give
Oh
the
dear
damn gun
God, man.
subsistence.
That would have been.
Yeah, I said.
That would have been broke.
I don't know about that,
It's
bro.
sweet business, dude. It's sweet business. It wouldn't have
J5,
been
we've
that
come
broke.
across some sweet business users in our time.
One dude had 500,000 kills. Do you not remember that man? That man never put that gun down.
He's on my friends list. I added him. We talk.
We talk.
He'd marry that gun if he fucking did that to it.
Oh god.
Is there like a less prominent subsistence perk, like gives you back some, but not like that crazy? Like, is there anything like that?
No.
Nothing.
Well, I guess technically the closest you're gonna get is slideways and slide shot.
Or ambitious. That's after a kill or something like that.
Yeah, ambitious is after kill and it
Oh my god.
increases the mag size. Yeah, let's give sweet business an ambitious assassin, please.
Overflow, babe.
you stop right there.
I would argue for overflow. I would argue for overflow a lot quicker. Like, that's dumb because the thing is that perk, changing that does not mean anything. What if you have full special and full heavy? Guess what? The perk will not operate unless you're able to pick up the ammo, and you can't pick up the ammo. Overflow needs to be adjusted too. If you just touch the green or the purple, it should activate. Whether it doesn't matter whether or not. You shouldn't have to pull out your shotgun.
Hold on, no. You're talking about, all right, I'm just gonna stand on this heavy brick, never use my heavy. I got this weapon with overflow, and I'm just gonna keep using it. And because this is a primary with overflow, this thing is never gonna lose its 200. That's insane.
So you shoot off all that shitty purple and green ammo. Get rid of all of it so that way you can pick up all them rounds, baby.
Listen.
Just start the match off and just start shooting. Get rid of it.
Gambit against the Gambit boss. Oh my god.
Bungie put themselves in this situation. I did.
Nobody's saying they should do this. Fuck off with that.
Tweet DMG right now. Y'all niggas should put overflow on that damn thing.
I just think it's dumb. I just think it's dumb that to get a perk to work, you have to swap off the weapon, swap to another weapon, waste one shot, and then put the weapon back on and then run over.
Boo-hoo, your utility perk requires you to play with other guns. Boo flippin' who.
But the whole purpose of the perk is to never have to put the gun down.
Like, put on that.
The whole purpose of the perk is to be able to be like, oh shit, I'm out of ammo. I don't want to reload this. Let me switch to another gun, use that for a bit, run over this ammo, swap back to the gun that I really like using. Oh, look at that, double magazine size. It's not to encourage you to never swap off the damn gun. It's to encourage you to be like, let me swap to a different gun and use that for a while I increase this chance of getting extra ammo.
I'm starting to think the better choice would have just been double reserves for all primary weapons.
You just put on the Titan chest piece and call it a day, man.
Chroma with 1,400 rounds in reserves, baby.
Bro, just tell Swamp he'll fucking cream himself, man.
God. All right, so we got some good news and some bad news. What's the good news? We're gonna give you the bad news first. We're not gonna do infinite ammo anymore. What? Why not? Because we're gonna give you 5 times the amount of reserves you can have for your sweet business. I'm in. Shut up and take my money.
I get duty bound with overflow. You damn right you can, Swamp.
All right.
He'd marry the person.
Let's move on from sweet business before we decide to rip J5 set off. Let's get the firing line.
Overflow.
That's a perk. That's a perk.
It's getting nerfed.
Yeah, because it was so used. It was so used.
I don't understand this, man. I don't understand it at all.
Bro, I was constantly pulling out my. I was constantly pulling out.
It's gonna be on some new weapon next season, and they've tested it, and it's like broke as shit. They're like, we gotta go ahead and
Then
preemptively.
just don't put it on the weapon. Yeah,
here's what they're gonna do, Rusty. They're gonna put it on a frozen orbit. They're gonna add it to its loot pool, so you can get a high impact with a firing line.
Jesus. Lord. Stand next to me so I can body shot. Get over here.
It's precision damage, Rusty.
Don't leave me.
It's precision damage.
I'm
fuck, man? Fuck that perk.
I'm glad they're nerfing it, man, because I just would not put down this distant tumulus no matter what.
Yeah, tell me about it, man.
I used it for everything, man. Everything.
Everything.
So it's about time that they put me in my place and nerf that perk that nobody's used since Soul fucking Survivor.
Okay.
Tell me hey, you know how sad I am when my 7 Seraph Saw? I can't do fire line that good anymore.
Oh,
bro.
Dude.
Sad face.
Heartbroken.
That was a cool machine gun that I did not utilize that much.
I used it in Deep Stone to knock the balls out.
All right, here we go. Moving on, firing line. You will be missed by no one. All right, so certain damage perks only affected by impact damage on explosive weapons, right? They've updated.
I didn't know that was a thing.
Kill clip, rampage, adrenaline junkie. I don't remember who I was speaking to about this earlier, but I'm gonna say it again anyways. If this means that half the damage of kill clip is now applied to explosive payload, and therefore doesn't have damage fall off, I'm all for it. This means rampage now has half of its damage applied to explosive payload and has no fall off. I'm all for it. Adrenaline junkie, bite a dick. I don't use you. Get out of here.
Yep. Fallout plays
No one loves you.
It's the only man it does.
He looks like a pedophile, though, man.
All right,
shave that stash, bro.
Stop. What are you doing? Quit that.
Shave the stash.
You're gonna fucking say what you said, and we're sitting here and fucking still in podcast mode.
Oh yeah.
Damn it, Rusty. All right, let's talk guns and armor, right? Let's talk guns and armor. Hey, Trials on the 9 guns, they're gonna be in the dungeon. Who's happy about those?
Yeah. Oh yeah, Judgment, baby.
Pretty happy.
Finally use them.
Looking forward to getting my hands on a Judgment and Dark.
Finally unlock them.
I'm looking forward to getting my hands on that sidearm, so I can just delete it over and over and over again.
Yeah.
Let's see what's next. Oh yeah, I'm not gonna read what I put on here. Actually, fuck it. You know what? I'm gonna go ahead and read it. So the seasonal ritual weapon, yeah, that one. The rocket launcher. It's a rocket launcher. It's Wendy's dildo inside of a rocket launcher. In case you don't understand, explosive light was a perk on the Wendigo, aka Wendy's dildo, and it's gonna be on a rocket launcher. It's gonna be kind of interesting to try it, but I'm not having high hopes for it overall. It looks pretty.
It's not just gonna depend upon explosive light. It's gonna depend upon, does it have tracking or does it have auto loading?
It's gonna depend on the frame.
Does it have impact casing?
I'm telling you right now, if this thing's a precision frame, I'm all for this. Precision frame comes baked with tracking. I'm all for it.
Yeah, that'll be cool.
We're nerds. Oh my God.
Let's see here. Playlist weapons. Those are things. We got a scout rifle. We got a sidearm. We got a auto rifle. Rapid fire scout from Gambito. Rapid fire Suros sidearm from what looks to be strikes, and some sort of Suros auto rifle. It looks like it's going to be from the Crucible. So yeah, those are things.
Yeah.
I don't know, man. I mean, maybe if the sidearm can get like Vorpal on it because it's a rapid fire full auto.
You're never gonna
Maybe.
use it.
Probably not, but Stiggins will. So I mean, there's that.
Oh boy, good old
Swamp Stiggin.
Stiggies. Swamp's gonna be all about this auto rifle. You kidding me? Swamp's gonna walk out of Gambit with the God Roll Scout rifle.
It looks like a 450, but I don't know.
The auto rifle. That's what I'm thinking.
The dude's gonna have 15 resets next season getting that gobble.
It looks like
Oh
a
my
Martyr's
God.
Mate to me, and Martyr's Mate was a 6.
Yeah, but what was that shotgun that just came out that looked like a rapid fire but was actually a precision frame? Compass Rose.
Yeah,
Oh yeah.
Yeah, so you really can't go based off the make anymore.
you can't. You're right.
Returning weapons. Where are those at? Look, we got these. We got a Shepherd's Watch. We got a Scathe Lock. We got an Annual Skate, which is what I'm excited for. Got a spoiler alert sidearm, which has lore implications possibly because it came out in Warmind and Cade died and it's coming out again next season, and so somebody might be dying in the Witch Cream. We got a Dead Orbit Vice Scout, and we got a new Monarchy Pulse. Names I don't know. If anybody knows them, go ahead and say them.
I can't remember the Dead Orbit Vice Scout, and I never obtained the new Monarchy Pulse.
Right, I didn't either because I didn't play during Warmind.
The sidearm is spoiler alert. There's Scathe Lock. There's Annual Skate, as you said, and what was that Shepherd's Watch at the top?
Yeah.
I know.
You know what's missing from here, guys?
Nurgle.
Where the fuck's my Nurgle?
Nurgle.
Bungie, give me Nurgle. I want Nurgle. You know how much I enjoy just being able to play Crucible with a Nurgle and go, Nurgle! Give it to me, please. I need it. It needs it in my
I'd
life.
be really happy if they just had one season dedicated to just nothing but weapons. Season of Banshee. And bring back every single thing from
Season
year
of
one
Banshee.
with random.
Season of the 44, baby.
I don't understand why they're bringing back Shepherd's Watch. I don't think anybody in the history of Destiny 2 has ever used that damn gun.
They gonna learn.
I mean, even Devrim won't use it. He uses No Land Beyond.
Yeah, exactly.
Oof.
Yo, here's what we got, guys. Iron Banner stuff. You believe it?
Oh,
Finally.
the armor.
We
Gotta get rocket kills again.
we get a pulse rifle. We get a sidearm. We get some armor. Hey, you know what's cool about that armor? It's gonna have a perk on it called the Iron Lord's Pride, an intrinsic perk.
Prisms.
Wearing a piece of this armor grants a small chance of an enhancement prism dropping at the end of Iron Banner matches. Each additional piece worn increases the chances, capping out at 4 pieces total.
You need 3 cores.
It's pretty cool. Pretty cool.
I mean, I know we have the artifact system still, but I miss the artifacts from D1. Where you could trade your
Scory,
super
baby.
for like double everything.
That was Fellwinter's memory of Fellwinter's. Love that thing.
Just give me my scory. I want scory all day, baby.
So, I mean, there's some stuff down here in the general that we can just briefly go over. Stasis weapons, they're going to be kinetic and power only. Bye quick swap. Luna weapons, getting 1 to 2 original perks per slot in their perk pool back starting next season. That's kind of cool. Dreaming City, can't be targeted farm yet. The keyword was yet. But until then, they're getting 1 original perk added to both slots. The left, the third and fourth. I got a little note here. Season 15 champ mods. Hold on a second. Let me just find that TWAB real quick. This one. I don't remember which one it is. It's not that one. It's got to be this one. Home that. Yeah, these things right here. Oh God, I pulled up Twitter by accident. That's fine. Don't worry about it. This thing right here. We got that this season. Anti-barrier auto rifle. Yeah, I'm putting next through it. I don't care. Unstoppable fusion and linear fusion. That's kind of cool. It's gonna be neat on Vex. Won't work on Arbalest, by the way. Did you know that? It won't work on Arbalest. Arbalest is getting an anti-barrier intrinsically in the future. Probably in season 15. Probably. Overload bow. That sounds cool. cool. A little Le Monarch, little bit of that
Little
Trinity
Trinity.
Ghoul, little bit of that Tiku's divination. Neat. Oh look, unstoppable pulse rifle. That's cool. Cool. Unstoppable sidearm. Didn't use it this season. Won't use it next season.
But when you get that Crucible sidearm all day,
Won't do it. Won't do it.
I'm wondering if there's another barrier mod that they're just not releasing to us yet.
Okay, why not? Why not?
intrinsic on fucking Vex, because fuck it.
Give it to me.
Right.
So something I think probably should be brought up here is they're talking about linear fusion rifles and caster frame swords still not where they want them to be, so expect some tweaks. I'm wondering if when they tweak the linear fusion rifle stuff, if that's going to affect Vex mythic class at all. Would be pretty cool.
I mean, it's categorized as a regular fusion, so it may not.
Right, but they do specifically refer to it as linear fusion rifle mode.
True.
So also, they're looking at underused and underpowered exotics. They'll be taking a pass at some of them. Arbalist, which I think is probably part of the anti-barrier thing. Suros regime. Don't really know what you can do there out of outright making the kill give you health. Which, there's certain people on this little talk show here that are all for that. Other people are like, well, I'm so used to what it does. I just rather it do what it do now and not really worry about it. Cryosthesia 77k, that sidearm that I still need to get the catalyst to complete. That thing, I don't know what the hell you're gonna do with that. Maybe take away variable trigger because I hate it.
J5 done got a good plan for it, man. What are you talking about?
Oh, does he? I'd love to hear it before I talk about the next one.
He told you about it.
What was it?
Light show,
Tell him,
baby.
J5. Tell him, J5.
Let's put on a light show.
The hell's a light show? Oh, you mean actually a light show?
Yeah. Wait, are we talking about cryosthesia specifically, or just
sidearm?
in general?
I'm talking specifically cryosthesia right now.
Specifically.
How they gonna buff it, J5? How they gonna buff it, J5?
Oh, yeah, they need to give it the Devil's Ruin treatment, man. Forget about this activation on kills. Just hold the trigger down and just freeze. It uses up the whole mag.
Do you want Pro to no longer play this game with us?
Tell you what, make it use a third of the reserves, and you got it.
Bro, you get the reserves back when you die. You can freeze 3 people, teabag them, and then jump off the map.
Ignoring these guys right now. There's a more important exotic that was named here, man. Alphezans. They're gonna look at it. It's underused or underpowered.
They're gonna look at it. Look at this piece of shit.
I need that full auto.
Look at it.
Listen, J5.
All right, we looked at it.
J5, we agree. 4th times, absolutely need it, without a doubt.
Full
Give it
auto,
4
baby.
times.
Full
That'd be
auto.
cool.
I don't know. 180 with full auto would feel weird to me.
Can we increase the magazine size anymore?
Can
Can I get 30?
Now?
Can I get 30 in there?
Oh my god, you're a madman.
20 some chump change, man.
20 some jump change.
It's only like 5 kills, man. Come on.
Oh man.
I want to wipe out a whole team with 1 mag. Come on, man.
All right. Anybody got anything else they want to talk about before we end this thing?
Not really.
We're at 3 hours and 47 minutes roughly.
It's a lot of editing.
I did no editing. This is going up straight as it is, man.
Oh, damn.
Yep.
Hey, your poor viewers, listeners,
tell me about
whatever.
Here, they can look at this while we finish talking. You can just look at that. Look at that thing. Beautiful. Look at it. Look at it. All right. With that being the case,
Where are the ads at?
shut the fuck
This
up.
podcast has been brought to you by Hello Tushy.
Shut
You ever
the
feel like
fuck up.
shouldn't have
Stop
been
it.
day
No,
up your
what are you
ass?
doing? Rusty, quit. We're not sponsored. God damn it. What are you doing? Shut the fuck up.
That'll
Trying to
work.
get some revenue,
Economy
bro.
got you
All
there.
right, that's it. Thanks, guys. Thanks. Hold on, I'm gonna solve this. Hold on. All right.
Wait, we got one more bit though.
No. Okay, what's your bit? Go for it.
I don't know. This
Okay, you ain't got nothing. Okay,
Try to
let's
drag
take-
it on.
All right, here we go. All right. Okay, so I took you guys off of the podcast, and now they're just listening to me now. So oh god damn it. Oh god. All right. Thank you guys. Anybody who tuned into this is just an experimental thing that I do with my friends. Thank you guys so much. I want to thank my friends J5, number one Blueberry, and Rusty. I really thank those guys for coming on and doing this with me. Didn't think this would be 3 hours and 48 minutes, but you know, it's good. I enjoy it. Have a good one. There'll be more shit coming on here, and have fun. Enjoy the new season. Bye.